To Backlot 605, and that is a jab at the one and only Andy Heller. Not really. But everybody, welcome to the top 20 countdown of the greatest comedies of the 1990s for Backlot 605. The nervous gentlemen sitting on my right are ready to go. We are going to give you guys a second to introduce yourselves, but you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and I believe we're live on YouTube right now. So everybody make sure to interact with the audience, have some fun. This is going to be the most joyous of our countdowns so far, but it could become the most deadly from the conversations that have happened. So you have to stay tuned for that here. But I'm going to give everybody a second to introduce themselves. But first, my name is Charlie Eccles. I will be your host for the evening. I am the co-host of Burritos and Body Slams. Hey! Shameless plug. I'm also a professional wrestling ring announcer and commentator. Book me, God damn it. And here we go. We are ready to get started, but I will give everybody a second to introduce themselves. Let's start down on the end with Mr. Blake Ginnathan, a.k.a. Bobby Canahan's illegitimate
Cannavale.
Yes, his illegitimate son.
Yeah. What's up? I'm very nervous. Yeah, sweating bullets over here.
This is like the lightest of all of our shows.
Yeah, I know. I'm scared.
This is the most nervous you've been for any of them. I've hosted 3 of these, and I've never seen you so jittery. You look like you like.
I don't trust Sam Lenz.
It's because Blake hates movies.
I don't trust Sam Lenz, and he has the #1 pick tonight. And
we'll get to the order here in a second. But right next to Blake is the co-host of Backlot 605 and one of my cohorts over on Burritos and Body Slams and one of the co-hosts of Slashlot 605, Mr. Casey Kelderman.
Hey, what's up, Charlie? How you doing?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
I'm so happy that you're here.
I'm so glad you're here.
And
should we just talk to each other?
We just that's basically.
I don't want to get to Sam. That's what I'm avoiding right now. We have a group chat for Burritos and Body Slams, and sometimes I feel like it's just you and I talking because Andy's working or something. But
I'm an adult.
He doesn't have time to talk about wrestling all day.
All right, and right next to Casey is the wild card of the group tonight, Mr. Sam Lenz.
What's up, you guys?
That's all you got?
I don't know. I mean, I'm just really stoked. I'm Sam. I'm a co-host of Slashlot. You should definitely check that out if you like horror movies. It's hosted by the 3 of us here. And also I just want to put out there that I am a Brendan Fraser enthusiast. So yeah, stoked to be talking some 90s today, guys.
We're gonna get so many DMs for that now. And finally, we have got the host of Fat Dude Digs Flicks, the man, the myth, the legend, my new friend, Mr. Andy Heller.
It's because his feud switched over to me, Andy.
It's a pleasure to meet you. Hey, Charlie, what's happening?
I'm good, bud. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Yeah, this is. I'll keep it brief for me. This is going to be quite the challenge. I think.
I think so too.
I think we're in for a slobber knocker, as it were. Was that really loud on the Facebook?
It really was.
If anybody's been loudest right now, it's been Sam.
Oh, good. Well, I'm trying.
Big surprise there.
I'm going to try and change things up a little bit, and I'm going to keep it low key. But we'll see.
I want NPR Andy.
Yeah, I know. I want NPR Andy right now.
I want fresh air Andy.
So,
today on the show,
selection at number 19 is that. But yeah. It's gonna be fun because it's a comedy draft.
Well, it has been cutthroat with the conversation. I'm very excited to see how this plays out. Let's go over the rules real quick, and then we will get started. Now, we have an order on the board, and if you can see this at home, it is a little bit random here. So, player D, who drew the letter D as in David, please raise your hand. Casey Kelderman drew letter D, and C, Blake Ginnathan, and B, Mr. Andy Heller, and A is, of course, Sam Lenz. Now, what that means is we are going to be counting down the top 20 comedies of the 1990s. That means that the person who drew letter A, Mr. Sam Lenz, gets the bottom pick, number 20, but also gets the overall top pick at number 1.
Why did we do this?
D gets the number 2 pick and gets 2 picks in the top 10. B gets 2 picks in the top 5, but only goes down to number 4. And C gets 2 picks in the top 10 with the numbers 3 and 7 in the top 10. But starting at number 20 will be Sam Lenz. Now, the big rule is the one actor rule. That means that the top billed actor can only be played one time. We've usually done 2 during this time, but can only be played one time during this countdown, which i.e. means if Chris Farley is the top 1 or 2 billed actor in the movie, he can only be played once. However, he can be in below the top 2 billed and still play that movie. However, that does mean that we might see some bangers that are off of this list.
It's going to be a banger-free list.
No banging on this list.
No banging. No banging and no.
I love that we've accepted the term banger into our vernacular now.
Where have you been for 5 years?
Don't need the microphone. All right. And is there anything that I'm missing here? Nope, I don't.
One
think
veto?
so.
Vetoes.
And, yes, I'm sorry. We also have the veto, or as some will call it, the sliming rule, because 90s. All right. That means that they have one chance to eliminate a pick. Now, they have the choice of eliminate. That doesn't eliminate that movie completely. That means that they can eliminate a pick from the bottom of the list, and it can be played higher. Now, prior to them doing that, we are going to let them give an explanation as to why they are going to veto that if they want it played higher, or if they're trying to get that movie eliminated altogether. Now, this is going to be a very interesting conversation as we go on. It's already been interesting, not only in setting up in the conversations that we're having. I'm ready to get into it. Are you guys ready to get into it?
I'm shaking with anticipation.
I'm just shaking.
Just shaking.
Yay!
give that more NPR. Just hooray!
Yay!
I'm jovial right now. All right, let's get this started. Any questions, gentlemen?
I think we're good. I think we're ready.
Think you guys are ready? All right, it's finally happening. The number 20 pick, Mr. Sam Lenz.
Why did we let Sam on this?
I'm wondering
Sam
why
has one
both of you
rule,
are
and that
on
is
this.
I have to read the card exactly what it says, and it says, does this shirt make me look bald?
Brutal.
Get off the list. Get out of here.
Brutal.
I love you, Charlie.
Can we use our veto on that?
I think
No,
Charlie should have a veto.
If he flips the card, he
God
sees the
beat up my
actual.
hair, guys. It's okay. All right. And at number 20, Sam has chosen Baby's Day Out.
Now, hear me out.
No. No.
Baby's Day Out is a masterpiece of slapstick
Do
comedy.
not use that word in context to babies.
When
You can't use that word. Only we can use that word.
When I think 90s, I think Baby's Day Out. It was one of the VHSs that I grew up on.
You are a child. in the 90s.
I could actually. I was literally a baby when this movie
I
came
want to
out.
hear Sam.
Yeah, let's let Sam go. Let's go.
Let Sam take
let's-
his own
look.
home, please.
I will
Andy
absolutely.
will have an aneurysm by the end of this. So.
I will absolutely agree that yes, it's thin on plot. It doesn't have a lot of character work and whatever you guys like in movies. But what it does have is a ton of slapstick comedy that all lands. I mean, this movie gets so ridiculously violent. It makes Home Alone look like, I don't know, a movie where there's no violence whatsoever. I lost the metaphor there. I absolutely love this movie. The main character is a baby, and I would argue that it's even better.
That's the title.
Yes. And I would argue
Does
that
it happen
since
to be his day out, Sam?
that, yes, he does indeed have a day out, Charlie. And I would argue that because he is a baby and has no malicious intent, and the crooks essentially who kidnap this baby are running into these painful situations on their own, that he is a more sympathetic and likable character than Kevin McAllister from Home Alone. So if I'm going
It's a
with
baby, right?
yes. So if I am going with a 90s slapstick comedy, I am going Baby's Day Out over Home Alone every time, and Baby's Day Out deserves to be on this list. Granted, it deserves to be on this list at number 20.
Who has
Who wants to
19?
go first?
Yeah. Can we go on to number 19?
Do we need to move on to number 19? Does anybody? It didn't sound like we had a veto.
I'm not wasting my veto on
Let's-
this.
Andy-
I warned you guys that you needed to rewatch this before this.
No, I don't think you did.
Oh, I did.
He definitely warned us that Baby's Day Out was going to be on
Now,
this list.
to be fair, I've never seen this movie. So
Exactly, Blake.
Oh,
Oh,
I have. And listen, when we put the Facebook description when we're all done with this, starring such and such of Backlot 605, can we have my name in parentheses, please? Just so that I don't have to be associated with babies. Gay. Out.
nope.
This film is an abomination, but whatever. I get playing a crap pick at the end.
Oh man.
Andy is the asterisk.
Andy's so pissed.
Oh man.
This does not change my feelings about Sam Lenz.
You didn't like him before the pick?
How I feel about Sam
It's all love, Andy.
But yeah, this
All
is
right.
we're off
I am
the-
shocked right now.
Man. I
I had no faith in
do I
Sam
go
already.
to the
Yeah,
comments?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
or do we just go to 19? What are the comments?
Yeah.
What do we got? What are people saying about this?
People have shut it off.
Like, who booked this shit? Is what they're saying.
Huh? Oh, hey, Anna, that's my sister.
She says Baby's Day Out is awesome.
Oh God, I thought.
No.
There's-
The Lens
Hold
family.
up.
All right.
There's two of them?
All right.
There are two of me.
We
yes.
we need
We love you, Sam. I hope you know that.
Yeah.
Like, we don't love this pick.
I wouldn't.
We
Sam,
love you.
Is this movie older than you?
I think
No,
it's
it's
94.
So,
So
Of course,
me and
Derek
Sam could have
knows.
been the baby in this movie.
Yeah. I legit could have
I
been
re-
the baby in this movie.
I remember liking this a lot as a kid. I have not watched it since I was probably
See, that's my
old enough to
concern
be a
with
baby
tonight.
to go out.
Nope, I've rewatched it.
Probably.
I've rewatched it. It holds up.
I don't trust. But also,
Derek.
the monkey movie that should be on this list, and I don't know if it will, is sitting on the table.
It's not monkey business.
That's all I'm saying, Sam. Is there better not be more than one monkey movie on this?
hey, you guys,
Monkey movie.
Andy had to like
Oh,
get here.
you are gonna
Like,
hate the rest.
You
of my
owe it to him.
Listen, guys. I think I'm starting to feel the effects of shot number 2.
And he's like, I got a shot for this.
All right, let's go to.
Let's move on.
Tap in.
We do.
Use my good card.
All right, let's go
Yeah,
number
move on.
19.
All right.
Number 19, B.
Can I preface this?
You sure can.
Okay. This is better than Baby's Day Out. This is
In your opinion,
this is off-brand for me, but I feel like this is important. and should be on here.
Are you playing all of them now just because of Sam?
Yeah, we're gonna class this MFR up right now. Because
Sam
Okay.
changed the game.
All right.
Okay. The number 19 pick from Andy Heller, Pretty Woman. All right, we got some love in the audience for this one. Andy, any vetoes before we go on?
I've never seen it. So I can't.
All right, Andy.
Let the record show I also like this pick.
Go ahead and talk about Pretty Woman.
Pretty Woman to me is one of the best romantic comedies of all time, especially of this era. There are some other romantic comedies I probably could have played. Wouldn't begrudge if anybody else played those ones higher, but there's something about I feel like when we pick a movie on this, that there has to be some kind of importance to us. And I know that for a lot of us it'll be personal importance, but I think we also have to kind of look at culturally the reflection of some of these movies. Look at me getting all snooty. I gotta turn the TED Talk down.
Andy, we have Baby's Day Out on this list. It doesn't have to be culturally
I'm
significant.
trying to restore dignity to this countdown. No,
You
this-
talk
this-
about personal importance, and Baby's Day Out is personally important to me.
This is my time.
Yes.
Sam.
I will defend
You
myself.
have had your time, sir. This is the film that really put Julia Roberts in the spotlight. Deservedly so. She was America's sweetheart for, I think you could still say to an extent that Julia Roberts is America's sweetheart. I find this movie to be absolutely charming. It has a little bit of everything. I think the initial concept of Pretty Woman, what that movie was supposed to be, would definitely not be on this list. But the charming romantic comedy that we are blessed with, I think it deserves its spot on this list. And I think it's a winner. I think it's a really charming film, and that's why I went with Pretty Woman. For me, it might be a little bit higher for my own personal top 20, but I think here at least I can get it on the list. And right now I'm trying to add speckles of class to this thing, and for me that's what Pretty Woman is.
That's why we have you on Burritos and Body Slams. Yeah. All
For
right,
the
everybody
record,
else.
I love this movie. I had a card for it. Yeah, this is absolutely, like you said, a very charming comedy. I think that socially, like it's kind of a very, like you said, important movie. It kind of challenges those like gender norms.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy it. So yeah, I can be classy too. I just choose not to be.
I will choose classy.
Sam Lenz is like beef Wellington with a side of tater tots. So,
I don't know what that means.
Because you were born in the 90s. That's
there
why.
it is. All right, Casey, Blake, Pretty Woman thoughts.
It's better than Baby's Day Out.
I've never seen it, so I can't.
Really? That's one of the more like surprising things I've heard in a long time out of you.
Sorry, man.
That's okay.
Yeah, I have nothing to contribute so far to this.
That's
at all.
okay. Nothing on Baby's Day Out. What do you mean?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go. Number 18, C.
Hell no, Casey.
All right, Blake's first pick. One of my personal favorites, The Wedding Singer.
Yeah. This is probably my favorite 90s Sandler comedy. It's got the best soundtrack of his movies. Any Van Halen joke, I'm all in for. It's also like it sort of balances his psychopathic rage with like some sweetness.
I'm going to pause you for just a second, just because this would mean that Adam Sandler is eliminated.
If it stands.
Does
Yeah.
anybody want to veto it before we let Blake gush about The Wedding Singer?
It's the best Adam Sandler movie of all time.
So nobody's going to veto?
His best comedy, yeah.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
Blake. I'm
Yeah,
sorry to pause
so
you. There you go.
I know like the other one that I really like is Happy Gilmore, but like I think if we're talking about like chemistry and stuff, him and Drew Barrymore, like they could be like if they were a couple in real life, I would believe it.
They do have great chemistry.
Yeah,
and they did
and-
that. And
yeah.
50 First Dates.
Yeah, and some of the songs Sandler wrote for this are really good. It's got Billy Idol in it.
You don't talk to Billy Idol that way.
This is also the first movie, and I'm not a guy who really gets nostalgic about the 80s, but this is the first movie I can remember being nostalgic.
Yeah,
about the
yeah,
80s.
absolutely. Yeah. I don't have much to say about it. I just like it's a banger, I think. So I wanted to get this in before some psychopath played Billy Madison. So
All right, guys, thoughts on on The Wedding Singers.
Jason just pulled half his picks out of his stack, according to Logan.
It is technically true.
Yeah, I really like The Wedding Singer. I don't think it's the Adam Sandler movie that I personally would have played, but I think it definitely deserves to be on this list. I love John Lovitz in this movie. He's absolutely hilarious.
He's losing his mind.
I am reaping the benefits.
This is the Adam Sandler movie that should be on this list.
I
Wedding
agree.
Singer is delightful. Yeah, it's just it's great, and it's the one that like I love Happy Gilmore as well. I do. I really love Happy Gilmore. It's a ton of fun. But for a movie that has content, the one that I'm going to go back to time and time again is The Wedding Singer.
And it's just a sweet story. I mean, it's just a very, very cute movie as well at the end of the day.
Something Andy said when he talked about Pretty Woman is the romantic comedy. This is, for me, easily my favorite romantic comedy. It's because of that chemistry between Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore. Like, as a kid, again, my picks will be mostly nostalgia-based. And as a kid, I thought Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore were a real couple because of this movie. It's that just incredible chemistry. Again, with 90s comedies, for me, it also needs to have a great sleazy villain. And this has a great sleazy villain.
So good. Yeah.
I love the old man that wears the Michael Jackson suit by the end of the movie and does the moonwalk. Yeah, I think this is easily my favorite Adam Sandler movie. And I mean, like we said, like I could have 5 Adam Sandler movies as all my picks. I think this is his decade for as far as actors, as many movies as we could have on this list. But if I was going to play an Adam Sandler movie, it would have been The Wedding Singer. This is also way too low for an Adam Sandler movie. But it's on the list. That's all I care about.
Yeah, we've got, and that does eliminate Adam Sandler from being one of the top 2 billed on the list going forward. So
Also, Julia Gulia.
Julia Gulia.
I just want to get that in there.
all right, Casey, your first pick, number 17.
Baby's Day Out 2.
They didn't make a sequel.
I don't know. I'm thinking of some other.
Baby Geniuses.
That's what
which
it was.
also
Super
could maybe
Babies.
be on this
Yeah,
list.
sorry, that was what it was. Yeah.
Seriously, you're going to call me out for Baby's Day Out and then talk about Baby Geniuses?
Yo.
Your criticism holds no water.
All right, Casey's first pick at number 17, Heavyweights.
Was that a joke?
No, Heavyweights is it is my favorite live action Disney comedy from this era.
I'll pause you. Anybody want a veto?
I really want to.
We are not even in the top 10 yet.
Okay.
We're not.
All right.
No.
All right.
Again, we're talking about these movies being very heavily influenced by our own upbringing. As the fat kid, as a kid, this is the most relatable movie you could ever watch. Ben Stiller is just incredible. As again, you talk about sleazy, bad 90s villains. He's maybe the sleaziest as Tony Perkis. Yeah, I absolutely love this movie. Again, you could have had other 90s Disney comedies like, the Mighty Ducks is the one I would have also thrown out there as well. This is a pick for me, is that we need a great 90s kids comedy, and Baby's Day Out is not that. So Heavyweights needs to be here instead and at a higher position. Again, like I said, if you're a kid and you were the chubby kid in school, like this is the most relatable thing you could ever watch. If you've never seen it, it is about these kids that go to this fat camp, a summer camp for kids who are trying to lose weight. And it has a great message too. That's what I really love about this movie, is that it does have a great message for kids, is that, yeah, you might be the fat kid and that's okay. Mm-hmm. But you also need to worry about, bettering your own life. You still might, be overweight, but you also have to do things that can better your own life. Like there's a point in the movie where these kids party all night and they eat just a ton of food, and Paul Feig has this giant sub and it's amazing. And by the morning, they're just covered in like frosting and, food all over their face. And the camp counselor comes up and he's like, guys, is this how you want to live the rest of your life? Like, is this what you guys want to be? And they all like, no, we want to change. We want to at least be better in controlling our like eating habits and exercising habits. So I think it is a great message for kids. And again, this is a start for so many comedy greats that we have now. Like I said, Paul Feig is in this movie. You would not recognize him. He does not have a suit on in this movie. Judd Apatow wrote the script, and I mean, this is
Kenan Thompson.
Like I said, the Mighty Ducks cast is in this movie. Like,
yeah, pretty much.
Sean Weiss is in this. I don't remember what's the Aaron Schwartz, I believe, is the main character, and then Ben Stiller, like I said, is just incredible in this movie. So
I will always laugh at that scene where Ben Stiller is running through the crowd and nobody's high fiving him. And then
one
kid at the end. I will always laugh at that.
I'm looking forward to interacting with kids for the very first time.
Corey says it's really fun and charming.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah. It's the best kids comedy of the 90s.
All right.
I just have a question for clarification.
This is a Ben Stiller movie.
Okay.
This is Ben Stiller then. Okay. All right.
Angus
Did he?
is also really good.
Yeah, Angus
Yes,
is.
yes.
Yeah, God.
All right. Thoughts? Heavyweights at number 17.
It's not my choice for best kids movie of the 90s, but I can't veto like a personal, like this meant a lot to me movie. So, because I know I have some of those too.
stop you before, boy.
It really didn't.
I've changed. It's been a year since that happened. Has it been a year? It's been a year.
What happened when we
Yeah, I lost some friendship out of Casey for a few months because of that. So
I like Heavyweights, but I don't remember much of it. I haven't watched it since I was a kid, and I enjoyed it.
You
But-
should have watched
yeah.
that instead of Baby's Day Out.
Oh no! See, Baby's Day
Tell
Out was
you
me.
didn't- Hold on. Sam, please tell me you didn't rewatch Baby's
he
Day
just
Out.
said earlier.
I 100% rewatched Baby's Day Out.
Retroactively, let's veto this.
All right.
All
Well,
right,
it's
You
at
guys
number,
had your
so,
chance.
all right. Number 16.
Oh, God,
C.
my turn
That
again.
is Blake. One more time.
Oh God. Let's see if this works.
I've never seen this movie, but I'm not surprised that you played it. To be honest, Romy and Michelle's high school reunion. At
Yeah.
number 16.
This movie is great.
Any vetoes? No. Okay.
Yeah. So this is a sort of like a girl power movie, but like it doesn't like overtly like slam it down on your head. It's about two girls who live in Los Angeles. They're not very smart girls. They get a notice that their high school reunion, their 10 years coming up, and they decide like, oh, we should go. And then they realize that they have like that when people go back to their high school reunion, everyone has like these amazing careers, and they're like, one of them like is a desk attendant at a Lexus dealership, and then the other one is actually jobless.
Mm-hmm.
And so they hatch this whole scheme to like go get boyfriends, get better jobs, and then that doesn't really quite work out. So they decide that a lot of people invent something when they get out of high school, and they decide that, well, we invented Post-it notes. So that's like their big like scheme going back to the high school reunion. And they, like, so they sort of dress like Valley Girls. They're, like I said, they're not very smart, so they can't like put like these big sentences together. But they buy business suits. They try to look classier, and their scheme goes to kaput immediately. And they decide to ditch that whole thing and go as themselves, which is sort of the message of the movie. You should be who you want to be, and you shouldn't be ashamed of who you are. There's a lot of really great stuff in this movie. There's an entire dream sequence where like people are flying, jumping out of like limousines and like falling out of helicopters and stuff. All kinds of weird stuff is happening. If you like music, this movie is filled, like, it's literally like someone's changing the music at a disc player. Like it goes into like Naked Eyes, into Bananarama, into like other 80s pop songs. Just like Time After Time by Cyndi Lauper is played twice in the movie.
And you know me, I love a
Yeah.
good mixtape soundtrack.
Yeah.
Like,
Justin Theroux has this great gag in the movie where like whenever he's a stuttering cowboy for one, and whenever someone asks him for a light for a cigarette, he just tosses his like one that he's finishing up at their feet and says, use that. Mira Sorvino is a dream in this movie. She is this is a star make. She had just won the Oscar the year before for a different movie, but this is like a total like Hollywood performance. So my wife loves this movie. This is sort of like a play for her. But I've watched, it's a yearly watch for us now, and it's just become one of my favorite comedies of that era.
That's a surprising pick from my end here, and I'm happy to see it on there.
Yeah. If you want to borrow it sometime, you can
definitely
borrow it.
will. I definitely will. All right, boys.
I'll just go really quickly because I haven't seen this movie. But I had figured through conversations with all of us, it would probably be brought up. But my thing is that if we're talking 90s comedies, we should have a Friends star on the list. And from what I've heard, this is probably the best Friends actor that we could have, played. I
did not mention Lisa Kudrow is the friend. Sorry.
Yeah.
Who I never watched Friends, but it sounds like Lisa Kudrow is essentially playing her like same blonde dumb self on not herself. Lisa Kudrow is very smart in real life, but like her character from Friends.
She's got a shtick.
Yeah. And that's what's so great is like Mira Sorvino is like a Mensa, like she's in Mensa, like she's incredibly intelligent, and she's like so good at playing this fool of a took. So,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Speaking of Fools Rush In would have been my Friends pick, just so we have that clear.
All there.
I'm going to point out two comments. Number one, Anna's redeeming herself by saying this is an all-time great.
It is an all-time great, I admit.
Anna didn't need to redeem herself. Sam needed to redeem himself.
I don't need to redeem anything.
The entire Lennon family needed to. And the other one is that Lou basically says that she's going to have nightmares of Baby's Day Out tonight.
Good.
Sorry. All right. Any more thoughts on Romy and Michelle's high school reunion?
I think that if this is the Friends star that we have to play on this list, this is the one to play.
There's one more movie starring a Friends star that I have in mind, but I don't know if it's
not the Chris Farley movie we can play, Andy or Charlie.
No, should it be that?
I don't know. It could.
All right, Andy.
I got nothing to say. This is not one of my favorites, but I appreciate it, and I remember how popular it was at the time that it came out, and just kind of the it faded out for a little while, then it hit video, and there was already a kind of a cult following behind it, and yeah, I'm glad that it is still kind of stuck around in popularity circles. So yeah, good pick.
Very nice.
No veto here.
All right. Let's go on to B, number 15, Mr. Andy Heller.
Andy is honestly the one I'm most worried about on this. I think Sam got his
Because-
lulls
Yeah, he
already.
did.
That was my fun pick.
Because what I find funny, not everyone might.
Ooh.
But this one's, it makes some people on this panel fall asleep.
Yep.
But that's okay.
Yep.
Oh God.
Andy's pick,
Do it, Andy.
Friday.
You ain't got no
Any
job.
vetoes?
You ain't got shit to do. No, no
I didn't think so.
I think we all should have just did a damn.
I feel like
Missed it.
I can't veto any movie that's created an iconic GIF. So
yeah. I think Friday is a ton of fun. And coming out of that decade, our centerpiece of our panel here didn't understand what it was like to grow up in the 90s and kind of experience Friday as it was going on, and just kind of how the crossover success of Friday, Bye Felicia, anything like that. Like this may not be the best stoner comedy that might end up making the list, but this is a stoner comedy. This is stoner comedy, hip hop influence. Like it made Ice Cube. It didn't make Ice Cube. Ice Cube was already had acting chops, but it gave him like a kind of a spotlight, and it gave us Chris Tucker, who, he may have faded from fame pretty quickly, but what he gave us at that time was just delightful. I think Friday's a ton of fun. I think it's a chill hangout movie. Craig got fired from his job. Debo is off to to kick his ass, and how is he going to avoid that at all costs? So I think this is just a day in the life. It could have been a good day, but it wasn't a good day. It was my Ice Cube.
I gotcha.
But yeah, Friday, that's my number 15. And I think in this area, this is a good place for Friday. I think it had a good influence, good kind of place in pop culture at that time. I think there are definitely 15 movies that are better, but I think it's one that certainly should be on this list.
I genuinely am loving the diversity in the bottom 6 that we have right now. And as somebody who loved marijuana in the 90s, I loved Friday. So, all right, thoughts on Friday, guys?
Hurdle life coach says, "Great pick, Andy."
Yeah, thanks, Terry.
I'm really glad that I mentioned my 90s marijuana habit when the motivational speaker popped on.
You're welcome.
It's over for 10 years, Terry. Don't come a knocking. All right. Anyway.
I definitely think this movie's a little slow. Like you said, though, it's a hangout movie. And at the time I watched it, I probably wasn't as
Old enough?
into that. I was at least 21.
I was at least 7.
Yeah,
guys.
exactly. I can't deny that Ice Cube and Chris Tucker both have a lot of star power in this, though. They are very fun to watch. I just think the plot meanders so much that it kind of lost me. However, this was one that I was hoping to rewatch before this episode, just because it's very much an influential 90s comedy, and I think it belongs on this list, honestly. It's I don't know. I think it's important, and like I said, it created one of the most iconic GIFs that I've used on Twitter multiple times. So yeah, I'm on board with this.
Real quick, what's the name of the guy who played Ice Cube's dad in that movie?
Witherspoon. Yep.
Yes, he is my favorite part of that movie.
I will watch it.
Don't go in there for about 45 minutes.
Maybe a tiny list.
Yes.
R.I.P.
All right, Casey.
I'll keep it brief. This wasn't one of my personal choices, but I was hoping it would end up on this list with one of you guys playing it. I do think it is a movie that should definitely be on this list. It's one of the best 90s comedies. It's one of the most influential 90s comedies. I've only seen it the one time. I really liked it, but I haven't gone back to it. And I think that's part of why I am not excited about it in that way, but I'm excited that it is on the list in terms of its cultural importance and the fact it is one of the most important, one of the best 20 comedies of the 90s.
Very nice. Blake?
I'll just say ditto. I haven't seen it since the 90s, and I thought it was okay, so I have nothing to say on it.
And this is a good spot for it. This is a really good spot.
Yeah, it is.
It's higher than Baby's Day Out, so I'm okay.
Technically, Andy, everything on our list will be higher than Baby's Day Out. So.
Guys, there is a reason I strategically played it at number 20.
I was going
It's
to say
a
he
personal
had a choice
favorite.
here. Like, he really did have a choice. All right, but Sam does have the next pick at number 14.
And you guys aren't going to like this one any better, but I don't care.
Oh, okay. All right. Breathe, Blake. In the nose, out the mouth. All right. This will eliminate another actor.
Actually, 3. Wait, 2. 2, maybe? I don't know.
You only get one.
And number 14, Encino Man.
Hey, buddy. The moment that Andy's been waiting
rid of the
for.
weasel already. That's
Just stand the stretch. I'm not upset.
So this was actually a first time watch for me in prep for this.
Can I pause you, though? Does anybody want to veto it? No? Okay.
No.
This is the right spot for Encino Man.
But this eliminates Pauly Shore, correct? And Brendan Fraser.
And Brendan Fraser, yeah.
Because they're the top 2.
And Sean Astin, but really what
and
did he do?
That's where the argument comes in. Where is Sean Astin and is it Sean Astin and Brendan Fraser?
Are we,
or
is he like one we're going to talk about?
And we got Derek for a reason.
I have the actual poster for Encino Man up. Sean Astin is top billed.
Oh.
Brendan Fraser is second. And then Pauly Shore gets the and credit.
Oh.
I would.
So he's tied for number 2.
Listen, I think morally we can't allow another Pauly
I
Shore.
would say
movie
it's all
on this
3.
list.
Okay. So that means Pauly Shore. If
Sam, let's hear
other
your.
movies-
Let's go, Sam.
Go ahead.
Can't bend the rules just so I can't play son-in-law higher. Anyways,
Play it here.
no, Encino Man deserves this. Okay, so I love Encino Man. This was a first-time watch for me leading into this. I'd never seen a Pauly Shore movie at all. And then they were $5 on digital platforms. And so I picked this one up and Son-in-Law and watched them all both in one night. And I fell in love with the Weasel. He is fantastic in this movie, and his relationship with Brendan Fraser's caveman Link is just one of the most endearing things I've seen in a 90s comedy. The gas station sequence is one of the best things ever. I could watch that on loop all day because it's so wholesome, and it taught me about the food groups according to Pauly Shore. I think this movie has a great message about just like not trying to go for popularity, being yourself, being comfortable.
I played it
in
like
your
that
own
already,
skin.
Sam.
I know. And I'm saying it's a good theme to have through these 90s comedies. Yeah, I just absolutely love this. And I think Pauly Shore's character in this is just so fun because, like, I mean, he's literally just, he's trying to tell Sean Astin, who might be one of the most unlikable protagonists in any movie, that he doesn't need to be worried about all this stuff. Like, he doesn't need to be worried about being popular in school. He doesn't need to be worried about what other people think. And to be totally honest, I dig
Sean
it.
Astin a very unlikable protagonist.
Have you watched this movie? He is a jerk. He is an absolute jerk in this movie.
The message of this film is very important to Sam.
Yes, but it is.
Allowed him to play Baby's Day Out.
Right.
Yes.
No. I'm gonna I've never thought of that phrase because of the other things that he's in.
Oh, of course, yes. In other things, Sean Astin is very likable. In this, he is not. But it makes up
You
for
heard
it
from Sam.
with.
Sean Astin's unlikable as a person.
Yep, that's what I said. Eccles, you commie. All right. Yeah, I really like this movie. I really debated on whether to put. It was a toss up between this, George of the Jungle, and Son-in-Law. And honestly, I went with Encino Man because it just really encapsulates a lot of stuff that I love about comedy. And I was told earlier today that my new haircut makes me look like the bully from this movie. So shush.
I would like to point out that Logan also is upset at the fact that this rules out George of the Jungle for the list. So you just did it.
Unless Sam vetoes himself, that is not making it on the
George
list.
of the Jungle.
You know, and
This is my VHS.
I
Right
will
here.
say, Sam, like I do love this movie. I'm not
It's a great
disagreeing with you. I honestly thought this was going to end up on the list, but I want to hear from everybody else.
Y'all are lucky it
If there's
wasn't
something
higher.
that I love about Sam Lenz, he is truly unpredictable.
It's really true.
And true to himself.
It really is.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Anybody else have
Very
any?
on
Any?
point.
love
I haven't
for
seen this
Encino
since the
Man?
90s, so I have nothing to say about it.
It has a Queen song on the soundtrack, so that's cool.
That's awesome.
Won't be the only movie on the list with a Queen song on the soundtrack either. But I'm glad Pauly Shore is on the list at least. He's on here. I think he shouldn't break the top 10, and that's coming from someone who absolutely loves the Weasel. This isn't my Pauly Shore movie. Son-in-Law is my favorite, and again, I haven't seen Encino Man in 10, 15 years. It's been a long time, so I have not much recollection of it besides
Movie
Pauly
night.
Shore is awesome.
I do.
And
love-
Sam also said he is a Pauly Shore fan and hates Biodome, so I
Biodome was
retract his
terrible.
Pauly Shore fan card.
No, Biodome was terrible.
There is a scene in Encino Man where he's like making caveman drawings with mustard on the glass of the hockey arena. That does make me laugh because I'm a 12-year-old boy. Like, it's really.
Cavemen fought for food and shelter. They did not fight for popularity.
Is that the tagline of the movie?
No, Pauly Shore says that after Link's confrontation with the bully in the ice skating rink.
Oh.
I really find that line cuts to the direct heart of the movie.
Is that the big, that's the
On
message of
page
the
3
movie?
of my
Yeah.
dissertation.
I'm going to ask Casey, and you have to revoke your Weasel card for not liking Biodome.
No,
Biodome
I
is
will stand in
terrible.
Sam's defense.
Biodome is awful. I'm gonna be that guy too. Yeah. Yep. All right.
So you're outnumbered.
All right. Number 13. The letter C, Mr. Blake.
I'm gonna spice things up.
Sam's already done that twice.
Now, if he's
About
gonna
to say, what are you?
spice it back up with the good stuff.
Oh. Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
I don't like that noise.
At number 13,
Okay.
Blake is playing Natural Born Killers.
What?
Yes. Yep. The Oliver Stone satire from the mid 90s about two serial killers who go cross country murdering everybody in sight.
Any
I don't
vetoes?
know if I
Um,
laughed once in that movie.
It's utterly hilarious movie. But like on a visual level, this movie is completely audacious. There's like literally Roadrunner sound effects when Juliette Lewis is killing a guy in a bar. The movie came out 2 months after the O.J. Simpson murders. We know he did it, right? Come on, like he did. So, the movie is about what's that?
Nothing.
Oh,
The views and opinions.
The views and expression.
the movie is about how we as America come to love people who do bad things and sort of obsess over them. And the fact that this came out right as that was just reaching this precipice and is sort of just now like a staple of our society. I think the movie's way ahead of its time. And Woody Harrelson and Juliette Lewis are just gonzo up to 11 performances. Just absolutely wild. The soundtrack is just all over the place. Like I said, like visually, this movie just goes for broke. A lot of people were really, really put off by how violent the movie was, and it really wasn't violent. It was just because Oliver Stone's visual flair just is so oppressive and so like hilariously funny. It really put people off because they were watching people get mutilated, and it's funny in a way, and people just had no idea how to react to it, and it really just sort of like set, like when it came out, the country was just like, what is this bastard of a movie? And
Okay, I'm gonna jump in since Blake did get his spiel in. I've not seen the movie, but I did pull it up on IMDb just to kind of gauge where we're at. Comedy is not listed on it, and I want to kind of go to a ruling by everyone else.
It's a satire
that has seen it on there. Is it a comedy? If we're doing a comedies list, is this a comedy?
Satire's under the comedy umbrella.
Okay.
Scene with a laugh track.
Yeah, there's literally a scene where like it's like this person's history, and it's played as a sitcom
And
for like 15 minutes.
And Wikipedia does say some critics praised the plot, acting, humor, and combination of action and romance. I don't remember laughing a lot.
Controversial, but
you can veto it if you want.
I'll jump in quick. I can't veto a movie I've not seen, so I will leave it up to the other two. But
yeah, that's fair.
That's yeah. I'm hoping Sam pulls the veto card.
Because you're not going to get mine. I love this movie, and it is hilarious. So, yeah, Natural Born Killers is fantastic. It's a fantastic outside the box choice, Blake. So I applaud you for that. But yeah, I think this movie is holding a mirror up to the country. I think I was off mic for all of that. That's okay. Whatever. It's a podcast. I think it's kind of holding a mirror up to society to be like, look, this is what's going on, and it's dark and ugly, but also if we give you a little bit of sugar coating here to make you laugh just a little bit, maybe it'll stick and resonate a little bit more.
I didn't even mention Robert Downey Jr. plays an Australian reporter who has the worst Australian accent of all time, and he plays one of those hard copy reporters who's like trying to get the big scoop, and it's just a wild movie.
I don't disagree. Like, I mean, this is one of those movies that you can view the way you view it, and you can't argue against the way that people view it. And if that's how you're looking at it, is from the comedic standpoint, dark.
It's a darkly funny movie.
Dark,
yeah,
yes.
It's dark.
But
there's beheadings in the movie. I mean,
here's
the
thing. I would slime this. The issue is that I'm afraid. Yes. Yeah. Sliming is vetoing. The issue is that I am worried that Blake is going to play something similar, even higher.
Why would he do such a thing?
Because it's Blake. Because Blake has a sick, twisted sense of humor.
Clearly.
And sometimes when he says, "Oh, this is a comedy," I think
This is a comedy. Like, this is a funny movie.
yeah, it's a satire. I don't know.
Vito,
If
I have another movie I can play.
I know. I'm just worried about that other movie that you can play. I'm gonna slime it.
All right.
I'm gonna slime it.
You gonna do it?
I'm sliming
Now
it.
you got to remember that doesn't mean take it completely off the list.
I know, but I'm gonna do it because I never use my slime on anybody other than myself in these games. So I'm gonna use it on
All
someone
right.
else for once.
All right, Blake, we're gonna
Sam
give you back
is
Natural
growing
Born
up today,
Killers,
folks.
and we're gonna trade.
That was a good.
I feel good about that slime.
Okay. All
Oh
right.
God, what did I do?
At number 13, and if anybody wants to veto this one,
Oh
Okay.
God,
I'll
Wayne's
get my
World
card
2.
ready because I'm expecting a veto.
Wayne's World 2.
I'm good with this. Hey, nice.
I'm not going to start unless someone wants to.
Yep. We've learned our lesson with vetoing multiple.
Listen to the dead air now.
Go, let him
Yeah,
talk.
okay.
I have
Okay,
Good.
I completely respect the first movie a lot. I think it's a great movie. I find like a lot of its jokes, like not a lot, like not most of them, but like some of them, like they don't quite land as much as like I wish. And I think Wayne's World 2, like it literally has the shotgun spaghetti effect where it takes every line is a joke and it throws everything at the wall and the majority of them land. There's a sequence where a guy has like a dead eye and they keep making eye jokes and they can't help it. And in my opinion, it's funnier than anything in the first Wayne's World. And
That's classic Mike Myers.
yeah,
there too.
I mean, it's got Aerosmith in their not in their prime, but you know, like in their like Renaissance era. I just think, for me personally, the jokes work a lot better, and there's more of them.
Jim Morrison.
And yeah, who's that old lady? That's my old lady. Like I love stuff like that. And like I said, I think the first one's great. There's probably more iconic stuff in the first one. This one to me is way funnier than the first one.
As a former musician, I could not agree more.
Also, this one has Christopher Walken. The first one does not.
Okay.
That is a good
That's
point.
a great argument.
This one does not have Rob Lowe, so your point is no.
Rob Lowe's great. He's no Christopher Walken.
Yeah, I was about to say, if we're comparing Rob Lowe to Christopher Walken, what are we even doing hosting a movie podcast?
Wayne,
Well, I think that's the first time.
You have to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that.
this is baffling.
And Andy, I'll let you go first.
Oh,
I know you have thoughts.
I love both of these movies.
I know.
Yeah.
So I you know,
It's really tough.
there's no way I'm going to fight this. Like I'm honestly, because I love both of these movies. So to see a Wayne's World movie on here, period, as opposed to an Austin Powers movie and one that I had in my hand that was mostly just to kind of test the temperature. But Sam really shook things up right away. So
That's a great movie too, by the way.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a
Max
great
Murder is a
movie.
fantastic movie. But seeing a Wayne's World movie on here is makes me very happy. And listen, here, personal anecdote time. Queen's appearance in Bohemian Rhapsody, or in Wayne's World, Bohemian Rhapsody in Wayne's World changed my life. Like it's the stupidest thing, but it really did. Seeing that for the first time
I know how much you love
opened me up to
Queen.
a
Yeah.
lifelong fandom of Queen.
And there's no Queen in this, Andy.
But
Did Wayne's World 2 change your life?
no,
It changed
but I
mine.
watched it. I watched it
What is
every
appreciated
single
the pain in
day.
your face right now?
Neither one of these movies changed my life, but both of them are funny, and Wayne's World 2 is slightly funnier. So
Yeah, no veto for me. I'll just end it with that so we can
Okay.
keep things moving. No veto for me.
Casey, you've been awful quiet, bud.
Yeah, the first Wayne's World is my favorite movie of all time. But
If you gotta do it, you gotta do it. I'm not gonna be offended.
I already played my joke on you, Blake, so I'm good with it. I am not going to veto this because a Wayne's World movie should be on this list. And I was fully expecting me and Blake to probably fight over this,
I'm not
over
fighting.
which Wayne's World movie would make the list.
Oh,
And I'm like, if Wayne's World, the first one's a 5-star, this is a 4.9. You know, like it's just as close. I think it is just as good. It's just as funny. I just connect with the first one more. I do think, like I said, I love my slimy 90s villains. Rob Lowe is a much better slimy 90s villain, even though Christopher Walken is pretty good.
Yeah, he's not really that slimy.
But he's not
he?
slimy enough. But I love the Graduate ending. I love is this the best we can do? Like, really? I know it's only one scene.
Charlton Heston.
Yeah, it's so good. And I do think this is, again, one of the great comedies. I do wish a Wayne's World movie was in the top 10, though. And that's where I'm kind of worrying. We're at 13 with Wayne's World 2.
You could veto and I could play higher.
Which I would be okay with. But I don't trust Sam Lenz enough to use my veto on Blake and Wayne's World 2.
All
So
right. It sticks then.
We'll leave
Yep.
it. I will
Yep.
leave it.
Let the
Blake wants
record
to
show
veto
that most
himself.
of my picks that Casey is worried about were taken out with Encino Man. So
All right. We're going to move on to number 12. That was Casey. Casey has number 12 and number 11.
oh god, 2 in a row.
We are going to start with number 12.
I'm glad we're united in not trusting Sam.
Y'all shouldn't trust me. I'm crazy.
I don't. Oh, you're going to. Oh, Night at the Roxbury. At number
Not
12.
the only SNL movie that is making the list in Wayne's World 2. Night at the Roxbury is making this list, unless it gets vetoed. But I genuinely love Night at the Roxbury. I think Will Ferrell and Chris Kattan have incredible chemistry in this movie. I think they are really fun to watch
Do we have
together.
a veto from anyone?
No one's going to move it higher, Charlie.
That's really
Unless you
true.
want me to shut up about Night at the Roxbury. But
No.
I genuinely do love this movie. I do think it is really funny. I think the two have great chemistry. Like, obviously the big joke everybody still talks about is the Emilio quote is like, I swear, the mighty duck man, Emilio. Will Ferrell is just a great dumb character in this movie. Chris Kattan is kind of the slimy person in this movie. Like, for
If we
like,
wanted to remove the heat from Sam,
yeah, I'm
we just
I'm
did.
taking all of
Yeah.
it.
Really did it.
Yeah.
Good, bring it on. Yeah,
At least I had the decency to play mine at 20.
In wrestling terms, he just turned Baby's Day Out face.
did I turn heel on because of Night at the Roxbury? Obviously, what is love? You know, the head bob breaking the window. Dad's gonna be pissed again. Yeah, I love Night at the Roxbury. I can feel the eyes just drawing closer to me as I talk more about this movie. And I'm waiting for someone to veto this, so I will shut up about Night at the Roxbury unless someone else
I
wants
don't think
to
anybody's going to veto this one.
chip in about how great it is.
I can't.
I've never seen it, so
I'm not going to veto it nor chip in on how great this movie is. This was from the old Andy Heller history book. This was something that was played also on repeats.
Just for the record, you can find that book at Last Stop. It's underneath all of the how-to guides of D&D. Underneath the floorboard, you got to pull them out and.
Yeah, the old Andy Heller history book, and I mean old. No, it was played all the time. I don't love it. I didn't love it then. I don't love it now, but I understand the passion behind it. I understand really appreciating it, and yeah, because I know how much Casey likes this, I can't veto this. We're not even in the top 10 yet. Like this is utter chaos and insanity, and we haven't even gotten down to the nitty gritty yet. So I'm going to fight for other things.
If you stop and you're real quiet, you can hear Blake's heartbeat right now.
Yeah. So yeah, I have a feeling there are bigger fish to fry. So I'm not going to veto this.
Casey, I love you. I respect your opinions. I watched about half hour of this movie this morning because I knew
this
you were
guy
going to play
talking
it,
over here.
and I had to turn it off, man.
And he
I couldn't
decided
do
to
it.
watch Baby's Day Out for
Yeah.
a second.
Sorry.
You know
I had to
what?
watch-
At least something
Sorry, I had to
happens
watch
in Baby's Day Out. at least enough people, like the right people, get hit in the nuts in Baby's Day Out. I didn't see anyone like Chris
You
Kattan
watched
should have
30
gotten
minutes of it.
Yeah, Chris Kattan should have gotten hit in the nuts in
We've
the first
mentioned
30
Baby's
minutes.
Day Out
Trust me.
so many times. Let's move on. All right.
I'm not bringing it up anymore. It's everybody else.
All right. Casey, you do have number 11 as well.
All right. Oh God, here comes Corky Romano.
Nope.
Not from this decade.
We can't.
Sorry, I forgot the rules.
What's my next pick after this? 8?
This is crazier than I expected it to be.
This is
This is
far
about
and
the
away
same level of
craziest
crazy.
we've been during the live show.
To steal a quote from Dumb and Dumber, I'm about to totally redeem myself with this pick.
Okay.
No, that's 11 is not high enough for Dumb and Dumber, Andy.
You're close, at least in my eyes here for you. At number 11, we are going to play South Park, Bigger, Longer, Uncut.
Yeah, you've redeemed yourself.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, South Park, Bigger, Longer, Uncut. I'm assuming maybe the only
No, I'm just kidding.
maybe the only Oscar-nominated movie we've had. We'll
Original
have-
2 is up for Best Picture. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. Well, whatever. South Park, Bigger, Longer, Uncut. At least we get to one of the couple 1999 movies. I'm hoping make this list, but we are running slim now, entering the top 10 after
I don't
this.
know why it came into my head, but I just want to hear Werner Herzog describe South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut.
This is the movie.
This is the movie that they kill the little Colorado.
There are no bears in this movie.
And all of the kids always learn that not everything is the way
Satan and
expect
Saddam
it to
Hussein together.
People out there listening that have no idea who Werner, who he is, are like, what are they doing? What are they doing? Why are they not talking about South Park? Why is no one talking like Cartman? God damn it!
We got way too classy for the 90s
for South Park, Bigger and Longer, Uncut. You talk about great satires. This is a great satire of the MPAA, about censorship. I mean, South Park is always pushing the envelope of that. I think Trey Parker and Trey Parker and Matt Stone are literally geniuses of comedy and satire, and I think they're just geniuses in general. And I mean, this is one of the great. I think it's one of the great musicals of all time too. It has a great soundtrack to it. That's where it got nominated for its Oscar. And yeah, I think South Park, Bigger, Longer, Uncut. This was sort of my introduction to South Park at a very young age. I was not allowed to watch the TV show, but my cousin decided to show up to a family gathering and bring South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. So as my parents were playing cards in the next room, all of us at 10 and 8 years old were watching South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. It's a PG podcast. I was about to say
so much.
People, the first song of Terrence and Phillip calling each other Uncle F, Uncle Effers. My parents are like, should they be watching this? Should they? It's a cartoon. It's fine.
Whatever.
And then when Kenny goes up into heaven and you see all the big boobs up there in heaven, my parents are like, we should shut this off, right? We should, right?
Well, your parents were at that mode of just like, I want to turn it off
They're
because
far
I know
enough
I should,
into
but this
it.
is so funny.
Yeah.
This couldn't get any more offensive.
Right. We've already crossed the line.
And then it does.
Let's find a new line.
And I mean, talk about great chemistry. Satan and Saddam Hussein in this movie have great chemistry. Andy, you had on a previous podcast you were on, you played Saddam Hussein as one of the best 90s villains, and I totally applaud that. That is a great choice. He is one of the best 90s villains. If any, and again, great satire of their showing, literally the devil, Satan, as like the bitch to Saddam Hussein. It's so great. Yeah, South Park, Bigger, Longer, Uncut, incredible movie. Needs to be on this list.
It does.
I was really worried you were going to play a different Matt Parker or Trey Parker and Matt Stone movie. This movie is so great, and like you, it was my introduction to South Park. I remember going into the video store and seeing the cover of this with Satan and all the South Park characters underneath it, and the warning, graphic language, violence, nudity, whatever. and just thinking that like, oh my God, this is a movie I want to watch. And I didn't get to watch it until I was over at a friend's house, and they had the movie and we watched it. And this movie is so viciously offensive in every way, and it works.
You guys are gonna love Natural Born Killers then.
Natural Born Killers is a good movie. I just didn't laugh. Yeah, I absolutely love it. I think I honestly think that Disney could take notes from the way that the musical numbers in this movie are used. It is genuinely a good animated musical. And that's why it won an Oscar. Not because like it won an Oscar for shock value.
Didn't win.
It got nominated. Yeah, got nominated. That's what I
For
meant.
Tarzan, a Disney movie.
Yeah.
So they know.
So who won that one, Sam?
Yeah, Tarzan rules. The soundtrack rules. But the way that the music is incorporated into South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut is almost unparalleled by other movies in that. I love it. I hate that I get...
There's so much Tarzan slander. I just don't like this.
No, this wasn't slander. No. This was Phil Collins' love.
This is
I
more
love
over
percussion.
here
And
to the crowd of when Sam said this movie is incredible. I just see.
And then me and Andy are over here like, remember that time we played that Tom? And he's just like, booty, 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 booty.
Anyway.
The issue is the Uncle Effer song is so catchy that it gets stuck in my head, and then I have to go to work at a middle school and try not to like sing it under my breath because it's catchy and it gets stuck in your head all day like an earworm.
And then you jump to Kyle's mom's a big fat bitch, and then you get that stuck in your head. And it has maybe my favorite South Park joke ever is when Cartman just grabs the megaphone. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What I said.
I want a clarification. Does this actually rule out Trey Parker and Matt Stone because they don't actually?
They are the stars of the movie.
Stars.
They voice the
stars
characters.
in the movie. Yeah. Yep.
Ruthless.
Unfortunately,
No, basketball will not get played.
I love basketball, but it doesn't need to be on this list.
All right, Blake, any thoughts on something?
Yeah, this movie's hilarious. My favorite scene is the Brian Dennehy cameo.
Oh, thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna laugh about that later.
Also, is this the South Park where the Canadian baby plays the harmonica in the attic?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Another all-time hilarious scene.
The Canadian baby.
I forget Ike. Is that his name?
Ike.
Yeah. I just know he's adopted. So.
There's only one Canadian baby.
Listen, I love Canadians. It's not a slight against them.
Did you bring the butt for? What's a butt for? It's for pooping, you silly.
Oh, the French Resistance guy. I haven't seen it in a long time. It's all coming back to me now.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
This is one of my favorites of 1999. I just love this movie so much. And I felt like playing Saddam Hussein as one of the best villains of the 90s really would have won me some votes. I don't know what happened.
It won my vote.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a ton of fun, and I love this movie so much.
Well played.
Yeah.
Well played. All right, let's count down from 20 before we get into the top 10. Number 20, Baby's Day Out. Number 19, Pretty Woman. Number 18, The Wedding Singer. Number 17, Heavyweights. Number 16, Romy and Michelle's High School Reunion. Number 15, Friday. Number 14, Encino Man. Number 13, Wayne's World 2. Number 12, Night at the Roxbury. Number 11, South Park, Bigger, Longer, Uncut. We are here at Spellbound Magic Shop in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, backlot 605, counting down the top 20 comedies of the 1990s. I had a pause there. Where am I? All right, I had a moment. All right, and we are on to our top 10. We have 3 people with vetoes still. Now, we still have that rule that only one actor can be played if they're in the top 1 or 2 build. So that means that Adam Sandler has already been eliminated. Pauly Shore has already been eliminated. Mike Myers has already been eliminated. Will Ferrell as well. And Brendan Fraser. There's quite a few that are on here. Also, Julia Roberts, Ben Stiller. So this is going to be a really interesting top 10, and we are on to the wild card himself, Sam, at number 10. All right, number 10. You might have redeemed yourself a little bit on this. Galaxy Quest.
So let me tell you,
Corey just like is gonna applaud, I think now.
my personal
this is
history
this
with
is a great
Galaxy
pick, yeah.
Quest is a kind of a fun one. So you guys know me, I'm a notorious movie rewatcher, and I was even worse when I was a kid, believe it or not. I was at a family gathering. You know what? I look young, but I'm actually the third oldest on this fourth oldest on this panel if you include Charlie. So
I'm not on.
okay, so fine, I'm the third oldest on this panel.
You're
Anyway,
also the second
Grown-ups know how to count,
youngest
Sam.
on the panel.
shut up.
Grown-ups don't count. I have a goddamn mortgage.
Will
Sam.
you let me wax nostalgic about my childhood, Eccles? Ugh! Okay, so what I was saying was this very personal movie to me that Eccles keeps interrupting me about. I was at see, you're doing it again.
Oh, these guys have interrupted you 10 times more than I have, and you hate me because you're jealous of my feud with Andy.
Yeah, we've got beef. Yeah.
Did we
Got my
drop our one
personal note.
F-bomb?
No, I haven't
Okay.
dropped any yet.
Okay.
I've sworn less than Casey on this panel. Anyways, back to Galaxy Quest. I was at a family gathering when I was probably, I don't know, 6 or 7, and you know how DirecTV used to be able to rent movies and then they'd play on a loop for 24 hours, right? Like that's just how it happened.
Yes, yep,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
I thought it was just a pay-per-view one-time watch.
Oh no, yeah, it was like literally 24 hours you got the movie and it just played on an endless loop. Well, my aunts and uncles, they rented this and I came in for like the last half hour of it and just fell in love with what I saw. And so when it started over, they were getting ready to change the channel. I'm like, no, you can't do that. Like, I want to watch this whole thing. And they're like, oh, okay, you know, one more time isn't that bad. We can sit through this movie with it on in the background while we talk. That's not how it happened. I'm pretty sure we watched that movie all the way through at least 4 times that day. This movie just it cracks me up as a sci-fi fan. The premise of a cast from a Star Trek like show getting beamed up to help a real life alien crisis is hilarious. It's played to perfection by every actor. And it also actually works as like a sci-fi action movie. There are genuine moments of tension in this, and the whole time though, it never forgets that it's a comedy and it keeps you laughing. This is maybe my favorite Alan Rickman performance, and that is even counting Hans Gruber.
Don't get too bold, friend.
No, he is phenomenal.
He did say
in this.
favorite and not best.
Yeah,
so.
I don't know
Okay.
if it's best, but it is my favorite, and he is phenomenal here. He's this thespian, the Shakespearean thespian that got stuck on this TV show, and he's bitter and resentful for this amazing career that he had, right?
He's Alan Rickman. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he actually gets some kind of gravitas at the end where he starts to realize that like his role in things is a little more impactful than what he initially thought. And I mean, obviously his role in things changes from being an actor on a show to actually having to save this alien race from, genocide.
He gets to use his line.
He gets to use his line. And it's actually a genuinely beautiful moment. I just rewatched this movie on this very VHS cassette today before I came here. And it hits. It works on every level. And it's absolutely one of my favorite movies. I love this movie to death. And I could watch it 10 times over in a day and I would not get sick of this movie. I love it.
That's a great play, I think. But were there any vetoes on this one to play it higher?
I've never seen it.
Like-
They watched the documentary.
This is the best. This is the best Star Trek movie of all of the Star Trek.
I agree.
Yeah, I love this movie, and it was one that when I saw it in theaters when it first came out, I was like, oh, that's fine. But over the years, it's like, there is a rewatchability to this movie that just makes it so entertaining and so wholesome. It's just that feeling of like, oh, this is nice.
It's fun.
Yeah, I just love this movie, and yeah, everybody in this movie is great. Tim Allen's at his best here, so yeah, I really love this movie. Another one of my 1999 favorites. So.
Casey,
I'll disagree. Jungle to Jungle is the best 90s Tim Allen movie. Galaxy.
Sam, thank you.
Here. Like I've heard Corey Jacobs groan before. I've never heard him groan at the level so low. At that,
I thought Spellbound was haunted for a second.
Yeah, it sounded like somebody hit a brown note with that groan. So
I don't.
You have to keep yourself.
For what it's worth, I watched Jungle to Jungle a long time ago. I remember it being fun.
Better than Baby's Day Out. Anyway,
hold on.
Let's
anyway.
Galaxy Quest.
Let's stop bitching about Baby's Day Out.
Can we have 4 adults do this next time? That's my request.
We've given Sam he keeps calling me a communist, and I'm getting over it.
Hey, you don't know if I mean communist is a good or bad thing.
We don't need to talk about Jungle to Jungle. It's
Backlot 605 does not condone the words of Sam Lenz. Galaxy Quest is fine. Let's move on.
All right, Andy, number 9.
Bring it home, Andy.
Let's shake things up a bit, shall we?
Ooh.
This list already isn't.
I mean, you know. We're gonna play a game that we've played once already tonight.
What does that mean?
God.
Maybe we will.
I agree. Okay. I think this is a comedy for sure. Fargo.
Oh,
number 9.
Oh.
Fargo. On my personal list, this would probably be in the top 5, but I wanted to take a shot and run with it. Fargo is the crazy dark comedy of a car salesman who gets embroiled in a weird situation with a couple of murderers and the police sheriff who is trying to solve all of these crazy crimes. There's a kidnapping drama that goes awry. You get to have Steve Buscemi and Peter Stormare, I'm going to say this one more time, the only movie where Peter Stormare is worth watching. I do not like Peter Stormare. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Wow.
But this whole madcap crazy story is topped off by a brilliant performance from Frances McDormand as Marge Gunderson, the police officer who is tasked with trying to, like I said, figure out what's going on. I adore Fargo. I just recently listened to the Screen Drafts Minnesota draft, and when this movie appeared on here, I was like, I'm so glad that I have this in my list because I want to play it too. And yeah, I find Fargo to be so much fun. It's violent. It's kind of shows that seedy underbelly of society. But on top of that, I have a really good time watching Fargo. So yeah, I think Fargo should be in our top 10 from some of the best filmmakers of all time, the Coen brothers. I think, potentially their filmography, we could see another movie in here. But I was
about to say that this doesn't ixnay any other Coen brothers, does it?
No, just the actors.
Okay,
so
cool.
Yeah, Fargo, my pick for number 9.
I think it's a great pick.
Yeah. I love this movie, and unlike Natural Born Killers, I do consider this a comedy. I laugh quite a bit, and a lot of that is due to Frances McDormand's performance, which is, to me, at least one of her best, if not her best.
Yeah, I first saw this. My grandparents live in North Dakota, and we went to visit them when this movie was like apexing, and they wanted to watch it as a family movie night. So, so that was my first time watching it.
There's so much going on in this group right now. This is just a collective group therapy.
Yeah, and my grandparents are like very conservative, like Christian.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Oh yeah, you don't say.
Not quite that far, but
It's
yeah.
black and white. We should watch
this
Natural
is-
Born Killers, Grandma. It's hilarious.
that was Sunday night's movie. This is arguably the Coen Brothers' best movie, I think. And it's I expected you to play that, I think. So yeah.
You know me.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I'm loving about this list is we have a nice eclectic list. This is hitting every sort of subgenre of comedy so far. I think we have hit probably any sort of subgenre of comedy that there is. And Fargo is a
Close.
perfect, it might be the greatest dark comedy of all time. I do think Fargo is great. I wasn't expecting Sam to play it. I'll just say that. I was expecting Blake or Andy to play Fargo, and I am glad it is on the list. I'm glad this has to show up. Like Friday, it wasn't written down in my cards because I was expecting someone to play this movie. So I'm glad it's on here.
Awesome. Well, Casey, I think you have number 8.
Yes. Okay.
The anticipation is killing me.
Wait,
Gotta
let
say
me
that
make sure.
sexier, Sam.
Yeah, there we go.
The anticipation is killing me.
The anticipation is killing me.
Yeah, that's sexy.
You're not attracted to NPR hosts?
Well, when Andy does it. I mean, that's different, though.
Yes, St. Lenz. Please get it correct. There's an accurate way to say things on NPR.
I don't know where to go with that. All right, number 8. Eliminating another actor. 2 actors. Tommy Boy.
Yeah, Tommy Boy, easily the best Chris Farley movie, easily the best David Spade movie, even by a further margin.
We're getting further down the list. Does anybody feel this needs to be higher?
Me, I do.
Maybe lower.
Okay.
This is for me, it's a top 5 90s comedy of all time. I absolutely love this movie. I again, like I said, this is the greatest Chris Farley movie, the best David Spade movie. Their chemistry is just impeccable with these two. I mean, even as far as story goes, it's a pretty basic story of, Tommy Callahan is kind of this schlub who took,
I like that word. That's why I laughed,
schlub. Yeah. Took so long to get out of college that he finally got it with a D+, and finally goes back.
Herbie Hancock.
Yes.
I wish we'd known each other.
Yeah.
This is a little bit awkward. And then Farley playing to he's 11, like Farley does, and then you have Spade, just this mild-mannered asshole that he does so well. And I wish David Spade would do that more now. He's not swarmy enough anymore. He needs to be, but their chemistry is just great, and I love this. I actually do love the story of this movie. Of he has to basically step up to the plate after being the schlub, the burnout, the one that never should have gotten to the top.
I really love that it's a comedic take on grief as well, because you don't see that often.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add that. Go ahead.
And those scenes of him, him and his dad have great, another Dennehy performance in this movie. We get 2 Dennehy's.
2 Dennehy's, yeah.
2 Dennehy's here.
Dennehy's popped up on almost all of the lists that we've done, actually.
But their chemistry is so great. And then when finally, he has the heart attack at the wedding, it is a gut punch when you watch that movie. It is a true gut punch. And again, I talk about great sleazy 90s villains. Rob Lowe is finally making
Hey, there you go. He got on there
for being a sleazy 90s villain. He is so good in this movie. Again, his comedic chops are so great he obviously learned so much from working with Myers and Carvey and Farley, and it's he is so great in this movie. Just his deadpan delivery of, did you eat a lot of paint chips when you were younger? Why?
I love Rob Lowe so much.
So good.
Does he
I've
punch
never
a
seen
kid in
something
this
that
too
I
or
didn't like.
something?
There's a kid blowing fate raspberries at him,
He
and he
hits
smacks
the
the window
yeah.
behind him.
Yeah.
And throws his empty milk carton in a baby carriage because he's a bad guy. Tommy Boy is again a nostalgia pick, but I also think it is a great movie. Fun story. Me and my cousin made a Tommy Boy movie when we were younger.
I remember you telling me that,
obviously, as the chubby kid, I was Tommy, and it was just us two reenacting scenes, even if we didn't understand the context of the humor, because we were about 7, 8 years old, including Who's Your Favorite Little Rascal, Alfalfa, or Spanky. Didn't understand the Spanky reference at that time, but I do now, and it makes that even funnier. So, Tommy Boy, number 8. I like it.
If you're playing the backlot drinking game, mentioning masturbation gets 1 drink.
Denny, he too.
Denny too.
Those two together, whole
in
bottle.
the same movie.
Yeah,
Take a shot.
You got to finish the whole movie. Or the whole bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah, great pick.
I think one of my favorite scenes in any comedy is the scene with Chris Farley trying to
The sales pitch.
the sales pitch. Yeah, the
You're
sales
driving
pitch.
along. You're driving along.
I just-
Truck tire.
It's
I
fantastic.
can't
He's
stop.
puking his guts out.
And the great punchline to end the scene too. Do you guys validate?
Yeah.
Also, Julie Warner is great in this as well.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. I think it was your episode of Fat Dude Digs Flicks with Nathan, Nate Holtz. Like, he had a really touching story about this. And that's, I've always loved Tommy Boy, but that scene at the end when he's talking to his dad really brings that whole movie home. And it's not just a comedy.
Yeah.
It is about him, like, losing the one man that meant so much to him. And like, I really love Tommy Boy for a lot of different reasons.
It's a good balance of that drama too.
It is.
'Cause, I mean, they're like, those boat scenes are so great, but then obviously Farley follows it up with, some great lines like "Quit playing with your dinghy,"
Right.
or,
Take a shot.
Anytime a penis is mentioned.
oh, wait till we get to the top
Yeah,
5.
right.
And him yelling at the kids, just the visual joke of the boat, like sitting up like this with
Yeah.
Farley in the back. It's so great. I love Tommy
The
Boy.
tiny life jacket. Yeah.
It's supposed to be wind today. Yeah.
Need a little wind here.
All right. Anybody else thoughts on Tommy Boy? I think we've run it out, talked quite a bit about it. Number 7, C. Blake.
I'll just say I have nothing else to add to this movie.
It's a mic drop pick.
All right. At number 7, Natural Born Killers.
Slimed.
Getting slimed one more time.
I'm going against my own rule just because we're in the top 10 now.
Oh
How
my
many picks
God,
do I
but
have
he
left?
still has
We
one
can't
more
have a
round.
non-comedy in the top 10.
I'm going to keep this one handy.
Andy, I promise you my last 2 picks are golden.
I want to play something, but I don't know if Andy's going to veto it or not.
Well, I guess we'll see.
You
I
might
say
as
go
well
for
draw
it,
the
Blake.
last veto out, Blake.
Blake, did you use your veto?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
We've only got 2 vetoes, you and Blake.
Um,
Left, anyway.
I'm gonna do this because I don't know if anyone else is gonna play it.
Okay.
Is this
Oof. It's pretty high on the list, but it's still.
I wish it was
don't
higher.
think
I
it's
just
high
don't,
enough.
I don't.
Number 7, The Big Lebowski.
yes.
Yeah, I did not like this movie the first time I saw it, and I've watched it 5 or 6, 7 times more, and I just keep discovering things about it that are so funny.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have not somehow seen The Big Lebowski, it's about this stoner in Los Angeles. I think during the first Gulf War, who like is writing checks for a gallon of milk. And he's just stuck in a completely different like era, and everyone's kind of moved on. And he's still like this guy who smokes weed, has no job. One night he comes home and like these nihilists have broken into his house and they pee on his rug. They think he's someone else, and they think he's some rich Lebowski. And so I think his name is it Jeff Lebowski? I think that's what his name is. He goes to the other Lebowski to get some sort of compensation, and they say if you can find my missing fiance or whatever or wife, we'll work something out. And it's this whole long stroll through like Los Angeles, like with weird people, which if you've been to Los Angeles, you run into a lot of those people there. And there's just lots of great gags. Someone dies in the movie and they release the guy's ashes, and the ashes all fly in the guy's face.
But prior to that, they put his ashes in a coffin.
Yeah. Jeff Lebowski's a briefcase gets stolen out of his car. The police ask what they are. He says they're my business papers. They ask what he does. He says I'm unemployed. Just things like that. If you love bowling, there's lots of bowling in this movie. Like I said, there's so many jokes that you're not going to just see watching it the first time. It's like an onion. You keep peeling layers off, and you keep getting to more and more. There's still stuff I see in this, and I'm like, I didn't see that the first time. And I think it's just one of those cult classics that's sort of like it keeps getting a reevaluation every 5 years, and it's just becoming one of the all-time great comedies. And I just don't know if these guys were going to play it, and I just had to have it here. So.
I wear a brown cardigan and slip-on shoes with my
yeah.
from
Oh,
Halloween
and John
costume every
Goodman
year because
not
of
getting an
this.
Oscar nomination for this movie is a cardinal sin because he's incredible in this movie.
Yep.
Oh, and sorry, one more thing. Steve Buscemi doesn't like talk a lot, and the joke is that he talked too much in Fargo, so the Coen brothers wrote a character for him that he doesn't say much at all, which is why they tell him to shut up when he's talking, because he's talking too much in Fargo. So I thought that was a great little thing they threw in there.
I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Blake was called the natural born killer of Beavis.
Oh,
By who?
Derek.
who's this Derek? He's creative.
Derek's got the best bang one-liners on.
I know he
online,
does. I know he does. I accidentally said a name wrong in the last countdown, and Derek just slapped his forehead, and it was the funniest thing of the whole thing, show.
Yeah, I absolutely love this movie. You're right. I don't know if I would have played it. I do have it on a card, but I do absolutely adore this. I think the dude would absolutely be appalled that we called him Jeff Lebowski multiple times.
Oh, is it El Duderino?
El Duderino, the dude.
I still call some of my friends Duder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Duder.
This movie. Yeah.
I mean, I think this movie is great because it's the definition of a hangout movie. I don't feel like any of the plot threads legitimately get resolved in this movie. It's very
Well,
it's a very loose.
So the movie's inspired by like the detective movies of the 40s,
yeah,
where
yeah.
like the plots are incomprehensible because everything, so much is happening. So
Yeah,
the characters
nothing
are
makes sense.
coming in and out, and so it's purposely incomprehensible. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
all of it is not supposed to make sense. It's all about the journey.
And that's the beauty of it, is it doesn't have to make sense because it's just so much fun, and it's centered around a bravura performance from Jeff Bridges. Like, I mean, this
He's playing himself.
he is, but I mean, he's doing it with gusto,
Yeah.
and I
Not
just
centering
love
his
it.
chakra
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
whatever,
like,
bowls.
I absolutely love this movie. I'm really glad it made the list, because it's just Fargo might be the Coen brothers' best movie, but I think this one is my personal favorite.
That's a great movie. There's nothing else I can add to this conversation. Just that Jeff Bridges is a god amongst men, and this movie proves that.
He really is. He really is. Casey.
Yeah, this is one of those movies like Blake. I watched it for the first time. Like, I don't get it. Like, what's because I always heard the cult following of the Big Lebowski, and a high school English teacher told me and one of my classmates, "You guys have to watch the Big Lebowski." And we came back like over the weekend. We're like, we don't get it. He's like, well, you need to watch it again. If I don't get it the first time, why would I watch it again? But in subsequent rewatches, like Blake said, there are so many things you pick up on in this movie, and it's one of those movies that I do look forward to rewatching, multiple times, because you do pick up all those different things, and it makes you appreciate it every single time.
Yep. I love this pick. I'm happy it's on there. I wish it was a little bit higher, but that's personal preference. But that's my 2 cents on it. But let's go on to number 6. We're back to Sam. Okay.
I never know how to take that. Okay.
Number 6. This is one that I said to Sam that I really want to see on this list, and I'm glad that it is. 10 Things I Hate About You. At number 6.
Sam, one of those is that you played Baby's Day Out.
Any vetoes for it from Blake or Andy before we let him speak about it?
No.
No. Okay.
To me, 10 Things I Hate About You is kind of like the perfect teen comedy. You've got characters that are definitely stereotypes, but they're also more fleshed out. There's layers to these characters. Essentially, it is a modern day adaptation of Shakespeare's The Taming of the Shrew. And it updates it to a 90s setting in a high school. Essentially, there are two sisters, and the younger one cannot date until her older sister, who is very much against cultural norms, decides to start dating and a kid who wants to date the younger sister hatches a plan to hook her older sister up with the local bad boy played by Heath Ledger. Julia Stiles, who plays the older sister, gives one of the best performances. I think this is the best performance of her career. The scene at the end genuinely makes me tear up. She is fantastic, and that was actually an unscripted moment, which makes it even cooler. I think the script is super tight, and I mean, part of that is like, yeah, it's based on a classic. It's based on a Shakespeare play. But I just think the way that it updates and modernizes these tropes and these characters are just so... It's just so fantastic on every level. I laugh. I'm emotionally invested in this movie. I hadn't watched it in quite a few years, and I revisited it this year, and it just holds up. I remember loving it as a kid, and then just, yeah. Upon rewatch, I found I loved it just as much. And this is to me just one of the best teen movies ever made. And it's perfect 5 out of 5 for me. I love this movie unabashedly.
This is actually, and you had mentioned the yearly watch of Romy and Michelle's high school reunion, Blake, with you and your wife. This is me and my wife's yearly rewatch is 10 Things I Hate About You. And I really love this movie. The dad in this movie is so on point.
It's great.
Derek, can you help me with the name of it?
Larry Miller.
Larry Miller.
Yeah.
He's so on point, and like he delivers every line so well as from a comedic standpoint. And then at the end, when he's talking about sending her off to college, really rounds it out with the emotion in the whole movie. So, Yep. Andy?
Yeah. In 2019, I tried to watch as many movies from 1999 as I possibly could. Didn't quite work out that way. But this was one that I did rewatch, and I was incredibly surprised, not only at how well it held up, but as how high that I put it in my ranking. I think this is just a wonderful teen romantic comedy that my conflict only is that I'm not going to veto it. Just I've already established that. My conflict is a little high for me, but I think this is a great movie, and that we can have a teen movie from kind of the late 90s on here. I think is really good because there were some bangers in 98, 99. So yeah, this is a
There's one more I think that
I was about to say, is this the only teen comedy we're getting on this list?
One
I
more
hope
that
not.
I think needs to be in the top 5, but I do love where this one's at. You do? You think this?
I said there's one that I think is better.
Yes.
But,
yeah. I think. Yeah.
Don't spoil it.
No spoilers, Corey.
Again, a movie with great chemistry in this. A great
Heath Ledger
rom
and
com.
Julia Stiles have amazing chemistry. In
His dance sequence on the bleachers is just like, if you like, that's the image that sticks out in my mind of this movie, and it's like
spoofed gloriously and not another teen
It
movie.
really is.
Which is a great movie. Yeah, but Heath Ledger, like, he is so charming in this movie. He's a perfect, like, ooh, he's the bad boy, but you're like, he's got a heart of gold.
And then he smiles, and everybody's like, "Oh, okay, there it is."
Yep.
Yeah. Blake,
I've only seen half of this movie.
really?
So, yeah,
Okay.
I can't say anything to it.
Okay. I'd highly recommend.
What'd you think of the first half?
I really liked the first half a lot.
Yeah.
It was late at night. I fell asleep.
But this is a personal favorite for me, so I'm glad you played it, Sam. Thank you. All right, number 5, we got Andy.
Back to
So the
back
only
colors.
person with a veto is Blake, right? The only person
Yeah.
other than myself.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I don't want to let you down. That's the thing.
Let me down.
Yeah, I don't want to let you down because I don't want you to
Listen,
I don't want you to
Andy,
use your
You haven't
veto.
vetoed one movie twice. You haven't let me down.
All right, I get 2 picks in a row here, so in the top 5. So let's see how we do here.
All right, number 5, Office Space.
As an adult,
How many 99 movies are we gonna get?
I made a joke that I
the
was
90s were good. 99 was great.
I had an idea that there was a good chance that I could play, all movies from 1999 and be completely happy with that. It didn't work out that way, but Office Space as an adult, as I have gotten older, this movie rings more
Boy,
and more
does
true.
it.
Working
Good
in a cubicle and
Lord.
you're good.
Office Space is the chronicle of a couple of guys who work for a tech company and kind of go through the everyday mundacity of life. They are so fed up with their position that they try and arrange just a little virus to just shave a fraction of a penny off of that company's earnings, and so that they can put it in their account and retire. Oops. It doesn't quite work out that way. But the movie overall is just, it's from director Mike Judge, who did Beavis and Butthead, which is another staple of the 90s. It's just such a funny, like I said earlier, a movie that really resonates with you. The older that you get and you have to go through that 9 to 5 office grind. Oh my God. I want nothing more some days than to take the printer, the copier, my computer, whatever I can, out to a field and just beat the ever-loving shit out of it. Office Space is an honest film, and I adore it. It's a movie that, like a lot of these movies, that maybe the first time I saw it, it didn't quite resonate with me as much, but over the last 20-something years, this is a gem. I love Office Space so much.
Guys?
I will say it's one of the best director cameos in a movie.
4 pieces of fruit.
Essentially what Andy said. Yeah, we all have our copy machine. For me, it was a fax machine. I'm a millennial. I don't know how to fax. Why do we even have those anymore? And why do they never work? Like there's very much a truth specifically to that copier scene that just resonates with me on such a level that it touches my inner soul. And for that alone, this movie deserves to be in the top 10.
Yes.
I love it.
Casey?
Yeah, I haven't watched this since working a 9 to 5, and I'm very excited to now because I feel like it will resonate a lot more. And I already loved the movie before that. And I mean, we get another friend on the list, which is fun. That is fun that we get another friend on here. Yeah, Office Space is great. Mike Judge, again, like I said, with Trey Parker and Matt Stone, is another comedic genius. And I mean, if you talk about 90s comedies, a Mike Judge movie needs to be on here, whether it was Office Space or Beavis and Butthead. Yeah, a great pick.
Like Andy, I didn't like it the first time I watched it, and more and more I watched it, I really like it. I don't think Jennifer Aniston's very good in this movie, but whatever.
She's not the highlight.
She's just she's not a good actress. But this movie is really funny. Like I think a lot of like movies that need to become like cult movies need to have like sequences or like lines of dialogue that sort of just resonate with people. This movie is like the first 45 minutes is like filled with it.
Speaking, just
like
a moment.
The TPA reports sequence.
Somebody's having a Monday.
Yeah.
It makes those lines kind of depressing.
That'd be great.
The jump to conclusions, Matt, is hilarious. The opening scene where Ron Livingston's driving to work and the old guy keeps beating him. Like we've all had those moments in real life where we're like we between lanes trying to get closer. And Diedrich Bader is hilarious in this movie as the next door neighbor who likes to watch certain TV shows. But Yeah, this is
Look at
this
man.
is a classic.
Using our one.
This is a movie deserving of its classic status.
I had to use it, guys. Sorry. That's the line.
I'd like to point out that besides Blake, I might be the only person on this podcast that hasn't sworn tonight.
I said bastards.
There you go.
I said the F word.
Take that, y'all. Take that.
You did the biggest curse of all by putting Baby's Day Out on this list.
Once again, I'm not the one bringing up Baby's Day Out an hour into
It's
this.
really true. All right.
An hour 48.
Back to back
All right.
for Andy.
It'll be a full day.
All right. Okay.
Andy,
Oh God.
I know someone in the audience will not be disappointed with this one. I hope, but for me,
is it Forrest Gump?
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Andy.
Okay.
Thank you. I don't know why this didn't register for me. Waiting for Guffman.
Waiting for Guffman. Christopher Guest films are absolutely just a joy.
I know we're social distancing, but I legitimately want to hug you right now.
Yes. Blake, do you want to veto this?
I've never seen this.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh,
Casey, have you seen this?
I have not seen it.
Not due to not wanting
So-
to, just that,
Okay.
that watch list
So,
gets very
so we
long.
can do this. I can plead my case since I'm the only one on the panel who has seen this. And if you want to veto it, I'll understand.
Andy, I'm not gonna get close to my veto card.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk.
we're gonna keep it.
This is all Andy.
This is.
All right.
Oh, I want to hug you so much right now.
I love Christopher Guest. This is Spinal Tap, Best in Show. This is a kind of an improvisational master at work with a very reliable crowd. The idea here is that we are having a community theater production celebrating the birthday of this small town, and the rumor is that this big Broadway producer is going to come watch this show. So Corky, played by Christopher Guest himself, wants to have the best possible show. You get all of the names are running out of my brain. Eugene Levy,
Parker Posey.
Parker Posey, yes.
Yeah,
Catherine O'Hara. Basically the murderer's row of people that Christopher Guest uses in his films, doing their best to bring this crazy production to life. You get to see all of the things that go right and all of the things that go painfully wrong, basically in theater in general. And that might be why I chose this movie, is because I am a theater kid at heart. But this is a laugh a minute movie. It is so earnest. It is so ridiculous. Like, these are some bizarre characters, and that's one thing that the Christopher Guest movies really specialize in, is pulling off these really bizarre characters. I love this movie, and I was gonna play this movie somewhere, and I figured, you know what? Why not take a shot, throw it in the top five?
I don't know why this didn't even register for me, but now I'm like, yeah, this needs to be in the top 5. Yes.
Yeah. Cannot recommend this movie highly enough. It is just hilarious. A joy.
Parker Posey, just go down to Dairy Queen and get yourself Coke. It's one of the best lines.
Yeah. I love this movie.
There's a musical number about stools.
Yes.
Because Blaine makes stools.
Blaine makes stools.
Yes.
It's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah, such a joyful movie.
Yes. The three of you guys, if you haven't seen it,
Yeah,
this
going
needs
on
to
the
jump
watch
up.
list.
Yep, this needs to jump up. Yep. All right. Blake.
Listen, I've read The Room. I get it, guys. I get it.
I was going to say, do I know what's going to happen here?
This is my plea to watch Natural Born Killers.
It is a good movie. I will give you that.
It is not a good movie. It is a great movie.
All right.
If that's what he's playing, I'm going to the bathroom.
You already
quick.
said it down.
Oh, never mind.
It's not. At number 3, LA Story.
Yeah. LA Story is Steve Martin's best movie, in my opinion. He wrote the screenplay, and he's the main actor in it. He plays a weatherman in Los Angeles who is sort of he's not having a midlife crisis, but he's on the precipice of it. He's in this relationship with this woman who's very materialistic. and he doesn't really like. They're sort of just there together, and I love the idea of a weatherman just sort of going into his job and being like, "Oh, it's L.A. It's going to be sunny in 72. Like, why am I doing this? You know?" I sort of love that whole gimmick. And then he sort of meets this woman who's from London who is doing a piece on Los Angeles and culture. And so he sort of falls in love with her. I think her name is Victoria Tennant. It was at the time Steve Martin's real life wife, which explains why they have incredible chemistry in the movie. And the movie is basically 90 minutes of poking fun at Los Angeles. It's a weird place. There's a sequence where they're sitting at an outdoor restaurant and all of a sudden an earthquake hits and no one does anything. They just like, and the lady's like, what's going on? They're like, it's an earthquake, you know, and then like, you know, everything's moving everywhere and like tables are literally shuffling around each other, like kind of like a dance. It's just an hour and a half of making fun of Los Angeles. My favorite subplot is like at one point Steve Martin's car breaks down on the Los Angeles freeway and it stops in front of the sign that starts talking to him and sort of like giving him life advice. And that's when you realize that he is not okay with where he is. And it becomes sort of like this whimsical, like fantastical movie where like fantasy starts blending in with reality. There's a sequence where there's a line of people withdrawing money from an ATM, and on the other side of the ATM there's a line of people waiting to rob them. And so like Steve Martin gets his money and this guy walks up and goes, "Hey, my name's Dave, I'll be a robber tonight," and takes his money that he got out. There's stuff like that. There's lots of great cameos in this. I finally get Woody Harrelson up there, who plays Steve Martin's boss. Jean-Luc Picard. Patrick Stewart is in this as a French restaurant.
Nerd alert.
Yeah, as a French restaurant owner who has to what does he do? He has to like check Steve Martin's like tax returns to see if he can afford to eat at this restaurant. Sarah Jessica Parker plays this Valley girl whose name is Sandy, but she spells it capital S-A-N, capital D-E, capital E, asterisk. At one point, Steve Martin grabs her breasts and he's like, "Why do your breasts feel so weird?" And she goes, "Oh, it's because they're real." And there's just a lot of like there's a lot of these little things that just they like, if you don't really know Los Angeles, you're not going to understand like what the joke is. But it's this big magical moment movie. It wraps up at the end, like at the end of the movie, the electric sign that talks to him, plays Amazing Grace on bagpipes as like rain is pouring down and he's finding love. I found this movie at a time in my life where I kind of had nothing, and this movie sort of just gave me direction. And I love this movie. I watched it the other night, and it just gave me the sense of like romanticism that is missing from a lot of movies that are made nowadays. I love this movie so much.
Awesome. You guys, thoughts on LA Story?
Andrew?
So
veto it.
You have the only veto. I mean,
I do have the only veto. Here's the thing, though. So the problem is there is one movie on this list that I have not seen. LA Story. And it is painful.
We should do a talk about episode about it.
We should.
Yeah.
It's painful to me that I haven't seen it because of your passion for it. And I have a hard time vetoing that passion, as we've realized, because Baby's Day Out is still here. But oh man,
strategy. You can't veto number 20.
I know.
I have a replacement.
Well played.
Do you?
Yeah.
Is it Natural Born Killers?
Yeah, it is.
I'm gonna veto LA Story.
Oh yes.
What?
It's happening.
Andy just turned heel on this.
It's happening. At number 3, officially on the list, is Natural Born Killers.
I didn't even wait for you to finish the card while I was typing it in.
Oh man!
I just want to say, LA Story sounds delightfully fun. Like I really want to watch that movie.
They're the complete,
And it sounds like an actual comedy.
They're the complete antithesis of each other. Yeah. Like there's scenes with Steve Martin rollerblading through an art gallery. It's just like pure magic.
that's not the movie anymore.
And
we're back
and
on
this
the
this
natural born killers.
this one has Tommy Lee Jones decapitated in a prison at the end. So
with his head on a stick.
yeah,
Hilarious.
yeah.
I haven't seen LA Story, but
What a night, guys!
I heard your impassioned thing, your impassioned soliloquy about it,
Yeah, it's-
and I would much rather that be on the list than Natural Born Killers. But here we are.
Listen,
Here we are.
I almost played The Mask. So
Oh, boy.
Why would you not have played The Mask?
Well, I know why he didn't.
Somebody's smoking over here. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's go to D.
Let's get Mr. Carrey on here.
Oh.
Oh God,
Okay,
no! You
okay.
didn't.
This is, I don't know what.
Casey, this is why I
this
did not play
makes
The
me
Mask.
really
Right?
nervous to see what number one is why
I will
get
just say
this.
Sam wasn't going to play this at number 1.
No, if it's what I'm thinking, I actually hate this movie
Really?
with a passion.
Sam, let me just say that you are dumb.
No, it's
And
mean spirited
he might be
and it's
dumber.
horrible.
You're the host, Charlie.
And number 2, Dumb and Dumber. Sam, you hate this movie?
Sorry, movie sucks.
Really? Read
I
the
know,
room,
I know it's
Lens.
blasphemy. I don't care. I don't have to read the room. I am entitled to my opinion.
Casey, talk about the best Jim Carrey movie of the '90s, please.
Yeah, I want to
Best
hear.
Jim
I want
Carrey
to
movie
hear
maybe
your
of all
love.
time.
The number 2 comedy of the 1990s, Dumb and Dumber. Yeah, the best Jim Carrey movie of the 90s. This is, again, during his banger of a year, 1994, one of the greatest years ever.
Also,
Because of
Natural Born
that-
Killers came out in '94 as well.
Hey, no, who else came out in 1994? Me.
I can't top that one. Yeah.
Well
Yeah.
played.
Yeah, Dumb and Dumber. It's one of the classics. It's one of those movies. Like in high school, I think I had this entire movie memorized.
Oh yeah.
Like
Still do.
I love. Yeah, I love this movie. Chicks digging it. It's a shaggin' wagon. Dumb and Dumber. Is so great. Jeff Daniels, Jim Carrey have incredible chemistry. Like Jim Carrey, for me, like I said with Adam Sandler, I could have put 5 Sandlers on here. I could have put 5 Jim Carreys on here easily. I could have played 3 from the same damn year. So
Dumb and Dumber is the movie that needs to be on
Yes.
this list. That
Mhm.
bar any other Jim Carrey movie.
sorry, Sam.
As far as a comedy is concerned, this is the one that needs to be on the list. I know Sam disagrees, but
I'm aware with its like people love this movie. I am aware I am in the minority on this one. So yes, sure, it can go on the list.
This countdown is Sam's villain origin story.
I'm waiting for me to get De
I'm waiting
Niro
for him
by
to
the end
lean
of
in
this.
on camera and just. Anyway,
Yeah.
Like there's no pressure for me now for number 1 because 3 and 2. What? Okay, fine, fine.
Relishing in the hatred for Dumb and Dumber. Yeah, there's a reason when I did Andy's, talk about, I picked Dumb and Dumber. It's one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time. I absolutely love this movie. It's one of those. It is my road trip movie. Whenever we went on a road trip as a family, like Dumb and Dumber was the movie we put into our DVD player in the van, and you watch Dumb and Dumber 3 times on your way to Omaha or whatever. Yeah, it's a classic. Has to be on this list. It's the best Jim Carrey movie.
and that just shows your age because you had a DVD player in your
Yeah,
van.
yeah.
When he said, I was like,
growing up.
VHS, I'm like, oh, wait.
no DVD.
Yeah.
Dumb and Dumber.
All right, I love Dumb and Dumber, but I want to hear from everybody else.
Mhm.
You heard from me.
I would like to point out that the life coach says that you nail your picks every time, Andy.
Thank you, Terry.
And that we do have someone that says The Truman Show is Jim Carrey's best 90s movie.
Is that that was my wife.
I meant,
that was.
That was another Lens comment.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
was
I
gonna
meant
say my
best
wife loves
'90s
Truman
comedy.
Show,
Like
but-
Truman Show's the best. Yeah, by far.
Or you just want to say Pretty Bird.
Yeah, I like this movie.
His head fell off.
I'm not.
His head fell off? Yeah, he was getting
I
pretty
just thought
old.
he was-
I got
thought he was really
worms.
quiet. Oh my god!
You want me to just keep going with this?
This sounds like our Wet Hot American summer episode. Just
Oh, you
quoting
got
the whole
bags.
movie.
You flying somewhere?
Yeah. Andy, go on.
Yeah.
Sam might smile during one of these.
I'm smiling. It's not a happy.
What's wrong,
Here,
Sam?
here.
Some little Philly break your heart?
No, it's a girl.
Sorry, buddy. Go.
Sends me a John Deere letter.
Son of a bitch, we gotta stop.
Another
what's
joke
gonna
I did not
happen.
understand as
All
a kid,
right.
the John Deere
This is that
letter.
movie.
We could quote this movie.
Anyway,
all night
This
long.
is that
Andy.
movie. Yeah, I like this movie. I I don't like it as much as everyone else, but I know Casey's adoration for it. I expected this wherever.
You expected this?
No. I'm glad that I was able to help. Make
Yes.
that. But that's anyway. The point is that I knew that if anything Casey had in the top 5, this was going to be something that he was going to be shooting for.
Mhm.
It's inevitable, and you just got to take the inevitable. But I mean, it is a delightful movie, and for me, it sums up 90s comedy to an extent. Like it's one of those movies that it's like when you look at 90s comedy, Jim Carrey is one of the icons of that decade, and I think that this is probably the one that you would put under that banner. So yeah.
I got a
Blake?
good quote for you. Sam dissing Dumb and Dumber is the most annoying sound in the world.
Who put that one?
Derek.
I'm telling you, Derek's got him every time. I love this movie so much. Endlessly quotable. I'm nothing else to say. It's hilarious.
There's one movie I'm upset that's not on the list, and we'll see if Sam plays
Well,
it.
there are a
I'm-
bunch of movies I'm upset.
I'm
about.
hoping
Yeah.
I'm hoping Sam read my mind earlier. And
I don't think I did.
I don't know.
He's not gonna-
I have no idea what he will
I
play here.
guarantee you.
Yeah,
I didn't.
we are on. Blake, I'm sorry. I think I interrupted you. Did you have anything else to add?
I'm praying right now.
No, Sam is going to drop a grenade on everything. This is Sam's villain origin story.
This is the bookends.
Or he could drop a Jeff Daniels sized dump on this movie. Oh God. Blake still has a veto, by the way.
Go ahead.
I'm like nervous.
Go ahead.
Sam is playing Chopping Mall.
Ha! It's from the '80s. Doesn't count. Here's my real pick.
He said he was gonna do that earlier, so
Did I?
yeah, you did.
Ooh, that joke. Ooh.
All right.
I thought it was funny.
I'll see what I want to see what Blake does with this because I don't disagree with you.
It is. It's not only the best '90s comedy of all
You know
time.
what?
It is
Before we
the
do
best.
this, actually,
90s
a little bit of
movie.
anticipation. We got to go
Yeah.
through the list. All right, before we get to number 1, top 20 comedies of the 1990s. Number 20, Baby's Day Out. Number 19, Pretty Woman. Number 18, The Wedding Singer. Number 17, Heavyweights. Number 16, Romeo and Michelle's High School Reunion. Number
Yeah.
15, Friday. Number 14, Encino Man. Number 13, Wayne's World 2.
Yeah.
What a mark. All right, number 12, Night at the Roxbury.
Yeah.
Number 11, South Park Bigger, Longer, Uncut. Number 10, Galaxy Quest. Number 9, Fargo. Number 8, Tommy Boy. Number 7, The Big Lebowski. Number 6, 10 Things I Hate About You. Number 5, Office Space. Number 4, Waiting for Guffman. Number 3, Natural Born Killers. Number 2, Dumb and Dumber. And the number 1 picked by Mr. Sam Lenz, Dazed and Confused. Hold on. Before you go, we do have one veto left.
This is not the movie I was telling Sam to play.
I figured because I didn't rate it 4.5 stars. I give it a 5.
This one?
This one, yeah.
There's another 99 comedy that I want played.
Okay. What are you thinking?
I
thing is
don't-
that I know how much Sam loves this movie.
Okay.
I know.
And I don't. Okay.
I'm just. I
this is-
can't think of it.
My argument, it's not a comedy, but I know I can't make that argument.
If
Yeah.
if you, I know you saw this in the State Theater.
There were, I think
There
all
were-
of us
yeah.
were there.
There were literally people laughing through this
I'm
entire
not saying
thing.
it's not a funny movie.
Yeah.
I just.
So is this a no?
No, I I don't know. I want to veto it. I love this movie, but I just really want to see what your backup is.
Whatever the 99 one you're thinking, it's not the one I'm gonna play in place of this.
There's one movie that I think should have been either number 2 or
I just
number
like.
1 that
I'm really. If he played Baby's Day Out at 20, I really want to see what he plays at number 1. If I veto it, like I'm gonna veto this.
Oh, okay. Now
Let it be known that Blake just vetoed not only the best comedy of the 90s, but the best movie of the 90s.
You know what? I think we owe it a little bit of time. I do think that we do with Dazed and Confused. So give it a couple of minutes with everybody because this is a great movie. I think, and I agree with Sam that this is a comedy in a sense here too. So I do think that
it's nothing personal against Sam. I really want to see him drop a grenade now. So
yeah.
I don't know if my backup pick is going to play as well as Dazed and Confused would have, to be honest, but I will play it anyways. Anyways, Dazed and Confused to me is just, it's one of those movies that is literally just like, it's a slice of life. And with it comes all the humor and the heartbreak and just like everything that happens in a day of high school, but it doesn't do it in an overly dramatic John Hughes Breakfast Club type of way. I think it's much more of a grounded experience than anything John Hughes did. And that's not dissing John Hughes. I just think they're two very different things. And I think I just relate to Dazed and Confused a lot more. And to me, it's the essential high school film. Even though it's set in the 70s and made in the 90s, it feels timeless. I feel like kids today would still be able to watch this movie and absolutely relate to it. And I love this movie with all my heart. It is one of my favorite movies of all time. It is in my Letterboxd top 4, and it slaps, as the kids say.
I really think Linklater's working on like a philosophical level versus like John Hughes is more like not superficial, but just not as deep as Linklater is. Yeah.
4 out of the 5 of us were at that same showing, along with Derek. We were all at that showing. Brian, were you at that showing as well? No? Okay. Sorry, you should have been there. But
should have been.
It'd be a lot cooler if you were.
A lot cooler if you did.
Yeah, this. Oh my God, I'm so nervous of what Sam will play at
too.
number 1. Yeah,
But
this is.
I do think that this movie is owed a little bit of that respect. I think it should have.
Yeah.
There are, in these countdowns, there are a lot of movies that we leave off, that we don't add, and we'll get to talk about our discards. This is one that I feel should be on here.
Yeah,
and it's tough to see it now vetoed. But this is the game, God, and it is heartbreaking and it is frustrating. This is one of the best movies of the 90s. It's everything about it is just it's that pure feeling where it's like Sam said, it's set in the 70s, but there's something about this movie that everyone can relate to and find that thread to connect with. There are, like every movie, there are things where everything's turned up just a little bit, like the extent of the stoners, but we know those people, so it's like it's not. Sure do. Yeah, so it's like it might be dialed up a notch, it might be a little exaggerated, but we still know those people.
I was friends with Slater in high school. Trust me, it's not that much of an exaggeration.
It's not,
right?
Yeah.
So
it's exaggerated, but not much. Yeah. It goes from 8 to 10.
Yeah, and I mean maybe it wouldn't be not my number 1, but I think this is one that is great, and it's crazy. It's crazy. This list is more diabolical than the was it 80s horror list and some of the other lists that we've done. So let's just see how this plays out.
Yeah,
folks.
let's see what we got here. All right, Sam. I think you will.
Yes.
Yeah.
Depends
a
on
year
what
and a half of Brian being the butt of the joke.
Depends on what Sam plays here.
Yep.
I would just like to point out that somebody's response here, which would be Anna here again. I hope Sam's backup is Tammy and the T-Rex.
Ooh. Get him, Sam. Get him.
Come on, Sam.
That's an inspired pick.
Let's do it.
I don't even know how I feel about this one, to be honest.
Oh, okay. And it sticks because all vetoes have been used. The number one comedy of the 90s is Clerks.
Hey,
That's a great pick. Yes.
Okay, so leading up to this, I was really kind of
1994, right?
Yeah, 94. I almost messaged you guys today and was like, if I don't play a Kevin Smith movie, is Kevin Smith even going to make this list? Because I think in the 90s, if you're talking comedy, Kevin Smith is one of the filmmakers that was part of that voice. And whether you love him or hate him, he has a very distinct style. And
I'm going to pause you for a second. Brian, you're not off the hook anymore.
Sound City.
Just kidding.
I don't have things like Baby's Day Out.
Yeah, but I played Baby's Day Out at 20, and you guys are the ones that keep bringing it up. So, Clerks to me is one of the most important independent films ever made, just because it much like Richard Linklater's early films, it emboldened young filmmakers to go out and just try it. The story behind Kevin Smith making this movie, where he sells his comic book collection and he's essentially getting his workspace to film this independent film at night. He doesn't know anything about it. There's literally in the credits, there's someone, the boom mic operator is listed as the person holding the broomstick because they just used whoever was around. This is truly a work of blood, sweat, and tears. And it introduced us to the characters of Jay and Silent Bob. Love or hate them, they are American icons in cinema. And some of the dialogue, the exchanges, the Death Star morality argument, like
I'm 37.
the dead guy in the bathroom. This thing is full of classics. The hockey game up on the roof. This really speaks to any like 20 something who is just not knowing where they're going to go in life. I love this movie. I think the characters, while they're crass, they're vulgar, they're still endearing. And
Kevin Smith was introducing his own style.
Yeah,
there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think this, I don't think this is Kevin Smith's best movie, but I think it's definitely his most important movie. And I think it's one of the most important movies made in the 90s. And I absolutely love this movie. So if it can't be Dazed and Confused, I think it should be Clerks.
Well, and it is. So yes, great pick, Sam. Great pick.
Yeah, if it can't be Dazed and Confused, it should be Clerks. This is a great movie. It's one of those things where it's like, is it better than Dazed and Confused? Is it better? It doesn't really matter, but they deserve to be side by side because they are very instrumental to, what kind of helped me appreciate movies, kind of growing from that, liking a very particular style as a kid, kind of adapting into the teenage of like, oh, I like movies where they say and it's funny, and then kind of growing into where I'm at now as a movie lover. But no, I think this is a really fun pick to have at number one. So I'm for it.
Yeah, I dig this movie. I like Chasing Amy.
I'm mad.
I like Chasing Amy more, but I agree with you. This is probably more important.
I think Chasing Amy's more of the dramedy.
And that's
So I think that's where
yeah.
I was straight up comedy.
Drama,
Yeah.
more so than like Clerks being more on the comedic side of things.
I get it.
I do think Chasing Amy is his best movie.
Yeah, I
though.
agree with that.
Yeah. This movie's fine. The more important thing is the behind the scenes. That is far more interesting than anything in Clerks. Clerks is fine. And even Kevin Smith now says Clerks is fine. And for me, it's not. It's the weakest of his 90s movies for me. I put Mallrats above it. I would put Dogma above it. Chasing Amy.
I might agree with you on Dogma, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I absolutely. I don't laugh during Clerks. I at least laugh during Mallrats. Yeah, and yeah, Clerks is fine. I don't love it, but I get it. I get why it should be on the list.
I think, and this is, there are some movies that really kind of speak for a generation as well, and Clerks is one of those movies in comedic style, and I'm glad to see that it's because Dazed and Confused speaks for the 70s. Clerks speaks for the 90s, and that's what we're doing here. So, all right. Clerks is number one, the number one movie of the 90s. We have had one hell of a night, but I want to... Yeah.
Can I ask Blake something really quick?
Yeah, I was hoping to get to honorable mentions, too. So,
Yeah. What was the 99 comedy you were talking about?
I will talk about it.
Yeah.
You will talk about it? Okay.
This one.
Nope, wouldn't have put it at number one.
What are you holding up? What are you holding up, Case?
American Pie needs to be on this list.
Listen, I have 5 movies from 1999 still in my hand. So.
Yeah, okay. I have Face Off, which I think is hilarious.
Oh my god! What's wrong with you?
Yes!
Face Off is bonkers.
Yes!
There's no way that movie. There's no way anyone watched that movie with a straight face and believes that could ever happen.
Okay.
Totally a comedy.
Yeah, okay.
It's a comedy.
It's more of a
Seattle,
comedy
I
than
love
Natural Born
Seattle.
Killers.
Okay. Okay.
Muriel's Wedding, starring Toni Collette. I love. I'm sorry, I have like a lot. So I'm gonna go really quick. Rushmore was the movie I was talking about.
Oh, okay. And that was one that was on my short list too.
Rushmore.
Yep.
Kingpin, Man Bites Dog, A League of Their Own, Addams Family Values, Hot Shots Part 2 is hilarious. Mighty Aphrodite, which is the movie that Meryl Streep won an Oscar for, it's great. Tank Girl, I think is a great punk comedy. But I'm a Cheerleader, it was way ahead of its time. The Meteor Man with Robert Townsend as well. City Slickers, Clueless, Barton Fink, Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, Grumpy Old Men, Delicatessen, the great French movie, To Die For, Welcome to the Dollhouse, Wow That Heart, and Sonatine, I think, are all.
I want to point out one here because the one that I think should have made this list out of all those, and you had a great list of honorable mentions, of course, but why in the hell is Clueless not on this list?
Because sometimes things happen.
Because I'm here. Because I'm here, and I'm at the state watching it right now to rewatch it.
Because 10 Things I Hate About You beat out Clueless in the teen comedy category.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Okay.
Casey, what's up?
Okay, Casey.
American Pie.
Okay.
Should be on here. The shirt I am wearing, Good Burger, was debating between that and Heavyweights. I rewatched it. It actually is really funny.
No, it's
still. Yeah, it is a fun kids movie. Like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with Good Burger. Another wild card was the Brady Bunch movie, which I think is fantastic.
Yep. Okay.
I almost played it, but just unfortunately
I'll give you that.
couldn't be on the list.
That in forever. That's a fun one.
It is a fun
so
one.
Funny.
Yeah, I wish I could have found a way to get it on, but oh well. And then my biggest wild card is Troll 2. Would have been my not a comedy, totally a comedy movie because this is one. No, not Trolls 2.
I thought about it too.
Yeah, this is one of the funniest movies ever, and it's not supposed to be. No, it is not intentionally. So that was my like. It's technically a horror movie, but it is hilarious because it is not anything that is scary at all.
I'm going to let you go last because I think we've given you too much shit tonight. So I just didn't round you out. So I'm going to let Andy go next.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to go with my the ones I had in my hand first, and I also, like Blake, had another list as well. Gross Point Blank. If Rushmore somehow didn't get played, and it didn't, what would be one of probably my number one comedy of the 90s, Groundhog Day. Election.
Election
that's
is
in
great.
the 90s.
Election. Being John Malkovich. Bowfinger. To try and just screw with Casey. Man on the Moon, even though I love that movie. The Andy Kaufman biopic. I don't
know how you're screwing with me. I love Man on the Moon.
So I Married an Axe Murderer. That's a great movie. Let's see. Bullworth with Warren Beatty and Halle Berry. I think that movie is great. Another satire. Drop Dead Gorgeous.
Oh, yes.
I had Home Alone on my long list. Out of Sight with George Clooney and Jennifer Lopez. Swingers. Funny Games by Michael Haneke.
Are you talking like the German?
Yep.
Oh yeah, I'm getting shit for playing Natural Born Killers.
Barton Fink, also by the Coen brothers. My horror comedy would be Dead Alive, Happiness, and let's see, There's Something About Mary. White Men Can't Jump, and I also had Man Bites Dog and In the Company of Men. So
Well played. Sam?
I threw around early on in this playing Scream, but I think that's more horror than it is comedy.
That's a borderline one.
It's too borderline. And I was
think
like,
Blake, you probably would have gotten less argument for that one.
If this was a horror comedy list, Scream would be my number one. But obviously, it's just comedy. So I had Clueless. I do love that movie.
And now that Andy mentions it too, I would put Drop Dead Gorgeous up on that list as well.
Also from 1999.
I know, what a great year.
Absolutely insane.
My personal favorite Bill Murray movie, which I actually thought was an 80s movie until I started doing research for this. What About Bob? 1991 with Richard Dreyfuss.
That is a great pick.
I think
That
this
would've been a
movie
great
is
pick.
absolutely genius.
Really?
Oh, I love this movie.
Oh.
The one that I promised everyone I wouldn't play, but now they might have rather had that than Baby's Day Out, Space Jam.
Here's the thing. If we didn't know about Baby's Day Out, we probably would have given you shit for Space Jam.
I told you guys about Baby's Day Out. I almost validated this podcast for excluding Kindergarten Cop on their Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone list. I still think Kindergarten Cop is the Arnold comedy to put on.
Jingle All the Way.
Jingle All the Way sucks. No, it doesn't. I love Jingle All the Way too. I had a Goofy movie. I love a Goofy movie. Also, Pauly Shore.
Pauly Shore. Yeah. You may have gotten away with that because he may not have been top.
He wasn't top. He wasn't top billed, no. But he has the best lines in that movie. Son-in-Law, another Pauly Shore one.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Son-in-Law. The Waterboy is my personal Adam Sandler pick. I just love that movie so much. I don't know.
Get behind you on that one.
That
movie just
it's so much fun. I don't know. I get it, but I don't know. For me, it hits. And my other Brendan Fraser pick, George of the Jungle, an absolute classic of my childhood that does hold up, and I will go to bat for this movie any day. Okay. I love George of the Jungle.
Okay. Anybody?
I just want to jump on the George of the Jungle. It actually does hold up pretty well for a kids 90s movie. Yeah.
Any comments that weren't mentioned, or any
Eric,
movies?
You got a zinger for us or not?
I mentioned this in the chat, but I'm just going to mention it for the group. On Friday, April 23rd, Disney Plus will be launching Baby's Day Out on the service. If you want to prove it for yourself whether or not it deserves to be on the service.
What about Natural?
You should just buy it. You should just buy it. It's worth it.
Man. Oh, cool. That's the news that came out of this.
Charlie, take us home.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. We have got a wild list of 1990s comedy. Thank you for joining us. Make sure to subscribe to everyone's shows and podcasts. We've got Fat Dude Digs Flicks. We've got Slashlot, Backlot 605. Make sure to subscribe to everything that these guys are doing. Join the conversation. Join the South Dakota Film Society that is on Facebook still. Or I'm sorry, what the group was. Yep. I'm not on Facebook any longer.
South Dakota Film Community.
South Dakota Film Community. Everything on social media. Make sure to keep talking about these movies. Let us know if we missed one that you loved, and we will see you at the next live show.
Peace.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Brian Denny.